Howdy, everyone. I hope things are going well for all of you. It's Friday, so that's very exciting for me. So on Wednesday, we did the Renbon tutorial, which I have been wanting to do for a long time. So if you did not join us for a lot of wonderful Renbon stuff, there is some. Uh-oh, echo? That doesn't sound good. Did I leave the door open or something? Is the sound weird? Is that what you're saying? Okay. It sounds like it's okay for most people. All right. So we did the Renbon tutorial, but as a consequence, we did all Renbon puzzles on Wednesday, and we did not do the Patreon voted on puzzle. And so if you don't know, we try and start every stream with the most voted on puzzle, unless we're doing some other scheduled event. But so today we're going to do two of them. So this was the most voted on puzzle on Wednesday, was this puzzle by Qodec. And on today, the most voted on puzzle is a puzzle by Woofers and Jakhob. So we're going to do that next. So you people who support us will still get you'll still get your money's worth for supporting the stream. Much appreciated with all of your voting privileges and everything. We're just going to do Wednesday's puzzle today, and we'll do today's puzzle today, and it'll all balance out. Anyway, if you're new around here, welcome. We're going to do some puzzles. It should be fun. Zach is already standing by. And so let's get cracking, as they say. So what are the rules of this puzzle? So this is a normal Sudoku puzzle, and it's almost a normal sandwich puzzle. Except, rather than a normal sandwich puzzle... Oh, I do not know who voted on this. You'll have to say, Tristan. Yeah, Tristan's just going to have to do that. Sorry about that. So anyway, so it's almost a normal sandwich puzzle. And in a normal sandwich puzzle, the clues give you the sum of the digits between the 1 and the 9 in the row. But this is an ambiguous sandwich, because rather than giving the sum between the 1 and the 9, it either does that, like normal, or it gives the sum between the 1 and the 8. And so each of these clues separately is going to do one of those things. Okay, so for purposes of this puzzle, I'm going to consider 1, 8, and 9 the special digits, so I'm going to give them a purple color. And then I'm going to give any digit that's not 1, 8, or 9 the color of green. All right, Naverio, Doomdiat, Luda, Andrew Sarkis, Russ, Chameleon, and David voted for this, so thank you to all of you, and this solve is dedicated to all of you. Zach can come over here. Did I not say 8 and 9? I meant to say 8 and 9. It's either between 1 and 9 or 8 and 9. Whatever I said, that's not what I meant. Unless I said that, in which case it's what I meant. So the thing I see right away is that in this row, this 35 clue, we know it actually has to have a 1 and a 9 on the outside. Because the digits that aren't 8 and 9 only sum to 28 if you sum them up. 1 through 7 sum to 28. So this must be a row where 1 and 9 are the crusts. And so those are purple. Hey, Qodec. How are you? I really enjoyed doing your puzzle the other day. That was quite fun. So now in this row, I'm seeing right away this cell can't be 1, 8, or 9. Because oh wait, maybe that's not true. This cell could be 1, 8, or 9, but it can't be part of the sandwich. The 1, 8, 9 thing's going to take me out. So what I was seeing was I can't do, for example, that. Because that would put too many 1, 8, 9s in the box. But if I look at this certainly can't be a 1. But oh, no. Sorry, the sandwich is 1, 8, 9. So yeah, this can't be a crust. I'm right. Okay. So if this was 1, 8, or 9, well, it could never be a 1. Because the 1 needs to be inside the sandwich. The only way to make the sum of 1 is with a 1. But the 1 then has to have as its crusts 8 and 9. And so as a result, this cell can never be sandwich. Can never be crust. And so we could do 8, 1, 9, maybe. maybe we can do 819. This column, because again the digits 1 through 7 only sum to 28, in this column, Nicholas, there aren't 2 crusts in column 1. There are 3 crusts in column 1. So you cannot place a crust here. So this 29 clue here tells me the things bounding it are 1 and 9. And so we have a 1 and a 9 bounding it, and then outies that sum to 6. This could have outies of just 8 and 9. Like, this could be an 8-9 pair, and that would be perfectly fine as far as this cell in its immediate future is concerned. We don't quite know yet. Okay. Right. So when I'm saying I'm just coloring 1, 8, and 9, the fact that I'm coloring it doesn't mean it's a crust. The fact that I'm coloring it just means that it's a 1, 8, or a 9, and then we have to use the whole thing to figure it out. Yeah, so the 29 clue I know has a 1 and 9 on the outside, but I don't think that lets me color anything. Oh, maybe this cell? Is this cell interesting? So the only thing this cell could be is an 8. If it's purple. If it's purple, it's an 8, and then that's a 1 or a 9. Is that broken somehow? The sandwich crusts in column 7 are 1 and 9 because the digits that aren't 8 and 9 only sum to 28. But I don't think that tells me this digit isn't an 8, does it? I might have to just write in an 8 here and see what happens. Because if this was an 8, that would be a 1 or a 9. And then I'd need some outies that sum to 6 down here, but I don't see a problem with that right away. At least not that I am able to discern. So I think this could be an 8, so therefore I don't think I could color it. But if it's purple, then it's an 8. And then this would have to be the last 1, 9 for the box, and everything else here would be green. Is there some commonality to all of those options that greens... Okay, here's the thing I know. This is maybe not useful. I know there's a 1 or 9 in these cells. Because if there's no 1 or 9 in these cells, then... Oh, no, I don't even know that. Sorry, I was going to lie. Because I could actually... No, I can't. Sorry, I was going to say, can my outies be 1, 2, 3? No, I'm right. If there's no 1 or 9 in these cells, then I'd have to make my sandwich down here. These outies would have to sum to 6, but that's too many outies. Yeah, we need a betting tree. Let's put the betting tree there, unless Qodec has a suggestion for a better betting tree. And yes, it's always between 1 and 9 or 8 and 9. So there's a 1 or 9 here. So none of these cells can be 1 or 9. For whatever it's worth. I kind of wish I could in some way say that these are, like, I kind of want to do this, but I feel ridiculous doing it. But it seems relevant for these 0 clues. Because if this 0 clue... Yeah, Nicholas, you're reading the rules, right? This 0 clue over here, if it's correct, would need to have an 8 in one of these 2 cells in order to work. And then that would have to be a 9. But that's not going to work. Yes, and it could be both 8 and 9 are adjacent, or 1 and 9 are adjacent. Okay. So here's an interesting fact. One of these 2 cells is a 9, and so one of these 2 cells has an 8 next to it, for sure, because there's always a 9 involved. So there is an 8 in one of these 4 cells. We're continuing down our string of wonderful deductions. And I know it's not that one. So actually, I know there's an 8 in one of these 3 cells. Okay, let's try that. Ah, it's not there. Okay. So let's go through this carefully. So one of these 2 is a 9. I don't know which one. But whichever of them is a 9 has a 0 clue in its column. That's going to put an 8 next to the 9. We've already argued this can't be an 8, because in row 1, the only way to make a 1 sandwich is as 8, 1, 9. In some order. So if I put 8, 1, 9 here, that would break the box. I can't put 8 here either, for exactly the same reason. Why can't it be 1 next to the 9? Oh, you're right, it could be 1 next to the 9, darn it. Well, at the very least, this isn't an 8. Because of the same reason. If this was an 8, it would have to read 8, 1, 9 across the row, and it can't. But you're right. It could be a... So one of these cells is either a 1 or an 8, is the point. But Chad is correct. I don't know that it's necessarily the other way. And again, to be clear, I'm not coloring things that are crust. I'm coloring things that are 1, 8, or 9. But I know these things aren't 1, 8, or 9. And I know there's an 8, 1, 9 all in a row somewhere across here. And interestingly, there's also a 1 here that I had not appreciated. So there's an 8, 1, 9 going down here as well. So what happens if this is crust? Then I have to have an 8, 1, 9 going horizontally into an 8, 1, 9 going vertically. That'll only work if this is one of the ends. I'd need to have, say, in fact... Oh, but it would... Okay, so let's say this is 8, 1, or 9. I think it can't be. If this were 8, 1, or 9... then I would need this cell to be the 1 for the vertical sandwich, because the 8, 1, and 9 all go together in this column. That is, the purples form an uninterrupted block. But that would have to be the 1, and it can't be. So this is not a thing. That's not crust. And so now, remember the 8, 1, 9, that is, the purples in this row form a contiguous string of purple. They can't go there. And so now both of these are purple. And so these digits have to be 1, 8, 9. Interestingly. Yes, and one of them is a 1. That's true. Okay, this is fascinating. And yeah, one of these is purple. So if this is purple, it's very interesting, because I've got this 0 in this column and this 0 in this column. Okay, I don't think this can be purple. If this is purple, then this is a 1, and this is a 9. So if this is purple, this goes 1 and 9 like this. But now that 9 needs to put a purple cell here, and there isn't a purple cell left, owing to that 0 clue. So that cell is not the purple cell. That cell is the purple cell. This digit's a 1, and we get to see Zach's 1 dance. Boop doop boop boop ba-doop doop boo doop boo ba doop boop boop boo ba doop boop boop boo ba 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 doop ba doop boo ba doop ba doop ba doop ba doop ba doop. Thank you, Zach. Thank you very much. Always appreciated. So no 1 there. There's an 8 or a 9 there. Okay. So if I was going to make this 4 sum, the 4 sum now has to be just a single 4. And so I could go 1, 4, 9 and make that an 8 as far as I can tell. I don't see any immediate problem with that. I'm trying to think about what I know about the 8 in this row, but I don't think the answer is much as of yet. Good point from Ambrose. This can be greened because otherwise I would have to do my 3 purples. Because again, my 3 purples in this column are contiguous. And so I can't put 4 purples in this box. So that's green. I don't think I'm putting flashes in crusts. That sounds like it would be a mess. Let's see. More Crabs thinks this cell can't be crust. If it... Well, sorry. I think More Crabs is telling me this can't be a 1, 8, or a 9. Because if it was, it wouldn't be next to a 0. So I'd have to have the 0... The other 2 in the column would have to be down here. But that seems fine to me. I don't see why that would be a problem. To have the other 2 down lower. I do know one of these 2 is crust. One of these two is a 1 or an 8 to go with a 9. But I don't think I can quite do that. Well, I can definitely imagine trying to set with a nightmare sandwich rule set, because I have been doing that myself, and it has been horrendous. Yeah, we've said that Garion repeats a point that we know well, which is that the actual crusts in this column are 1 and 9. This is getting quite tight, though, because I'm already going to have at least 2 outies in that. Oh, and I can't have more than 2 outies. I can only have 2 outies. So actually, in this column, Garion is correct. The 29 needs to be between 1 and 9, because the digits between 8 and 9 can only sum up to 28. And this can't be a 1 or a 9. So where are the 1 and the 9? The 1 and the 9 have to be here. I can't have 3 outies, because the 3 outies of this would need to be too many. They would need to be, they need to sum to 6, which they can't because the 1's already gone. So these are definitely purple, and they are 1, 9. For sure. Okay, and now we're in this funny situation where horizontally one of these 2 is a crust. Or that's a crust. But we've got a 1-9 pair in this box now, which is interesting. I know this isn't an 8, by the way. Yes, right. These 2 cells now sum to 6, so I know what they are. They're 2 and 4. Thank you, chat. Yeah, a few people noted that. And in particular, that means this isn't an 8, so I can green it. So we've got that. I feel like if this is an 8, I'm doomed to break something, but I don't think I can quite articulate it. Yes, right. Thank you, Crispy. Yes, I did not then remove 2, 4 from the rest of the box. let's see. Let's see. Garion says if row 1, column 5 was an 8, it would make row 9, column 5 a 1. Right. So the point is, what if 8 is not in the sandwich? What if 8 is not one of the crusts of this sandwich? Then what happens is I need to have a 1 and a 9 in the column somewhere. The numbers between the 1 and 9, wherever they are, sum to 28. So that is, together, these would sum to 38, plus the 8 up here. Wait, no, I did something wrong. No, sorry. Oops. Sorry. If this 8 is, or if this digit's an 8, so what I just proved is if this digit's an 8, it needs to be a crust. 28 needs an 8 because you can't do 1 through 7. Oh, right. Okay, yes. Sorry. Jessica has the important point here, which is that I said before 28 could have outies of... Wait, no, it could have outies of 8 and 9. It can have outies of 8 and 9, because if the outies are 8, 9, so if these were an 8-9 pair, these could be 1 through 7. Okay. Okay. When I say outies, I'm including everything that's not in the sum when that's appropriate. So when I say outies of 8 and 9, I'm saying the things that are in the crusts are 8 and 9. If the things in the crusts are 8 and 9, this works. So that's the point here, is that I at least... Now, Garion has something more complicated than that, but I haven't understood it yet. So yes, Garion somehow sees that this can't be an 8. So if this is an 8, that's a 9, and then a 1, and then a 9, and then an 8, and a 1, and a 9. Yep. So I think if you just chase this around, I think if you make this an 8, then you make both of these cells a 9. Seems to be what I get. I feel like there's probably a fancy reason why that's true. Let's see. So yeah, if this is an 8, that has to be a 9. And if this is an 8... Okay, yeah, so let's write it in. Because this is... this is quite a look ahead. But it's cool. So if this is an 8, that's a 9. That's a 1 and a 9. So that's a 1 and a 9. But if that's an 8, that's a 9. And we get 2 9s in row 9. And that's too many 1s. Or that's too many 9s in row 9. So this isn't an 8, it is a 9. And that's an 8. And now once that's an 8, these cells see 1, 9, and 8. So they are green. Because they see 8 in the box and they see 1 and 9 over here. So we get some additional greening happening. It does seem like row 9. If anything deserves an extra 9, it's row 9. I agree with Jay. Okay, so I cannot green the rest of row 2. There's 3 purple digits in row 2. So I can absolutely not green the rest of row 2. Okay. Yeah, so now I don't know if the other... I don't know where the 8 is in row 2. Do you know where the 8 is in row 2? I feel like chat is... chat knows something I don't about where the 8 is in row 2. Okay. So... I am looking at... We're purpling all 189s. There's no way to do it but to purple all 189s. You can't purple something if it's crust, because if you purple something if it's crust, then it might be crust horizontally but not vertically, or vertically but not horizontally. Alrighty. So Garion says this digit has to be a 1. If it was a 9, that would have to be a 1. Does that bounce around here in an unpleasant way? So if that's a 9 and a 1, and that'd be a 9 and an 8, and that would be a 1. So Garion says if I follow this around, it will break. So that 9... Ah, yes, okay. That 9 will make that an 8, because I needed something next to that. Right, and now the 9 can't go next to this. Okay, that's complicated. So if this is a 1, that becomes a 9 and a 1. But now that 9 puts an 8 here. And now there's nowhere I can put a 9 in this row that actually is next to a 1 or an 8. So this is not a 1. It is a 9 and a 1. And as soon as that's a 9, it means this is a 1. So those are green now. No, Crispy's point is not correct. I see it, but the reason why Crispy's point is not correct is because I don't know that there's not an extra digit hanging out in the 25 clue. So this is a 9, and so one of these two cells is the 8, right? Because the 9 in this row needs to be next to an 8, and so one of these two is the 8. In particular, that's not the 8. But I can green the rest of the row, because the rest of the row sees 189. I think the conclusion of what you said was correct, Gary, and I didn't quite follow your logic, but if I looked ahead enough, I think it did break if you made this a 1. But it broke in a way that was really, really mystifying to me. I cannot green column 1. Because I don't know where the 8 is. Column 9 is not broken. The 8 and 9 in column 9 can go next to each other. And have to. Isabella saw the thing I missed for forever, which is that looked down. This is quite mind-bending. Okay. Weirdly, these cells can't be 8s. I don't think. No, that's not true. Never mind. Well, that cell can't be an 8. That's for sure. If this was an 8... Oh, no, never mind. Never mind. Nope, I'm wrong. Don't listen to me. perhaps the game is convince Zeta to green things that can't actually be greened. It should be easy. Okay. Okay. Directionary asks about this 27 clue. And so, the things outside the 27 clue... Okay, so here's the question. Can the things outside the 27 clue be 8 and 9? Yes, 8 and 9 can be the crusts, because if 8 and 9 are the crusts, I also need to put a 1 on the outside. But I can't do that. Right. Okay. So what if the bounding of this, what if the bounds of this clue are 8 and 9? If the bounds of this clue are 8 and 9, then what happens? What happens is I need a 1, and, oh, Simon does my puzzle today. Nice. I want to explain why I know that the crusts aren't 8 and 9, though. I'm excited. I'm very excited to see Simon do double-double. The thumbnail does not contain a gray square. The thumbnail is just a giant gray square. Yeah. How long is the video? I'm curious. Okay, so if the crusts were 8 and 9, I would need a further outies of 1, but there's a 1 in both column 1 and 9. And that doesn't work. So the outies, the crusts in, oh lord, words. The crusts in this row, the actual crusts, are 1 and 9. So this digit is not an actual crust of this thing. And my outies here, unfortunately, though, my none crust outies sum to 8. And so tragically, this could still be a freaking 8. But I need a 9 somewhere. And the 9 needs to allow some modality. So the 9's not there. The 9's not there. I'm not sure I see why the 9 can't be in any of these spots, though. Yeah, maybe 8s are the new 5s. Be careful, 8s. Need to pause and look at the thumbnail. Yeah, this puzzle hurts my brain, but in a way that I enjoy. I do want to look at the thumbnail, although I don't think I can easily pull it up on stream. I think I'll have to wait and look. I guess I can pull it up on my monitor over here. Let's see. Let's see. Oh wow, I love it. Oh my god. The Superman logo around the Z is delightful. Yes, that's awesome. Oh, and my face is there. There's an actual my face in the thumbnail. Excellent. That's amazing. Oh, and David has donated in honor of the feature. Thank you, David. Get the donation dance. Boop 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 boop. Thank you, David. From Zach and I, very much appreciated. What a day that we are having as we try to navigate this Qodec puzzle from the 19th layer of hell. Yes, I have clearly been working out in my thumbnail image for Simon. That's super cool. I'm really looking forward to watching this. Zach as Superman, yes, Super Zach. So So what things can be outside the 1 and the 9? What are the things that are outside the 1 and the 9 sum to? The things that are outside the 1 and the 9 need to sum to 8. So outside the 1 and the 9, I have digits that sum to 8. There can only be 2 of them because I've already used the 1. I can make 3 digits sum to 8, but I can't make 3 non-1 digits sum to 8. So there's only 2 digits outside the 9, outside the 1 and the 9. And so that means that when I look for where the 1 and the 9 go in this row, I need to make sure they can't go further in than this and this. But of course, that can't be a 9. So I think the 9 in this row goes in any of these 4 places. Oh, but the 9 can't go here, actually, because if the 9 went here, remember the other side would be a 1, and that doesn't work. So that's not a 9. So the 9 can go there, and I think the 9 can go there or there. I think those are my places where 9 can go in the row. Thank you, Playmaker. Much appreciated. So yeah, I think 9 can go any of these 3 places within this row, which is... and none of the other... Oh, wait, no, this place. Would this place... No, I was hoping that place would force me to put a 1 over there, but it does not. And sadly, this can be a 1 still. Okay. I think I'm going to mark in yellow that these are the places that 9 can go in this row. I think I know this cell can't be 1, 8, or 9. I think this cell can't be 1, 8, or 9 because this cell... Can this cell be a 1? Oh no, this cell can be a 1 if that cell's a 9. No! This can... If this is purple, it's a 1, but it can... Sorry, if this is purple, it's a 1, right? But it still can be, I think. Oh boy, okay. This is just a delightful nightmare. Okay, this column, I want to remind myself, goes... the purples are in a string... and go 1, 8, 9. And I bet that interacts with the things I know about this row now. So, could this be 8, 1, 9? Is there a way I can rule out that that's 8, 1, 9? There's not, is there? You're going to make me cry, Qodec. I don't see how the yellows rule out that being 819, Liam. Yeah, it could be... Oh, yeah. When I said 819, I was including the other direction, right? It would have to be 918, exactly. But I don't think there's a reason it can't be 918. Now, I know it can't be these three that are the purples, because that would put a 1 in the middle. Let's see. Garion says in column 8, in column 3, the 8 has to be part of the crust. So the crusts are 8 and 9, which leaves only a total of 3 outside the sandwich. Okay, right. I think we figured this out before and then got distracted. Right. I think before we didn't know, we said if this is an 8, then that. Hey, Memerister, how are you? Okay, so let's imagine that somewhere down here in this column, I put a 1 and a 9 with 25 between them. Then those sum to 35, and that would mean that I need to sum these cells to 10. That's not going to work. These need to add to at least 3. So this 8 is indeed genuinely a crust of this row, or of this column. And so by virtue of being a crust of the column, that means that the other crust is a 9, and so the sandwich with the crusts that you eat sums to 8 plus 9 plus 25, and 8 plus 9 plus 25... stand with me for a second. 8 plus 9 plus 35 is... no, not 8 plus... 8 plus 9 plus 25. 8 plus 9 plus 25 is 42. So the things outside the sandwich need to sum to 3. And so that means this digit's always a 2 or a 3, because it needs to be part of a sum to 3, and it can't be a 1. So this cell is green. And so this could be the 9. If this is the 9, then that's a 3. Or this could be the 9, in which case that's a 1. Oh! Wait. So, okay. So I know one of these two is 9. That's the point. And this is always purple, because either this is 9 or it's a 1. So this is purple and it's always 1 or 9. Which is a weird and I think utterly useless spot, but it's true. Does it interact favorably in any way whatsoever with the 1 in this column? I don't think so. If this 9 is not a crust, do we run into the same problem? If I haven't... Oh, no. The 9 is always a crust. 9 is always a crust. I can't think about the universe where 9 is not a crust. 9 is always a crust. If the outie was an 8, then it would be exactly here. Sorry, if the other crust was an 8, it would go exactly here. I feel like half of this has been chat telling me that 9 is always a crust, and half of this has been me saying that 9 is always a crust to chat. This puzzle is... This is a delightful, brain-destroying sort of puzzle. Okay, so... Yes, having 1-8 sandwiches, I'm sure, would greatly improve this thing. Okay, Directionary wants to look at the 22. So imagine the world where 8 and 9 are the crusts of the 22. If 8 and 9 are crusts of the 22, then 8 plus 9 plus 22 is 39. The rest of the stuff has to add to 6. So if 8 and 9 are the crusts, I only get things that add to 6 on the outside. And there's nowhere I could put... Oh, no, it would have... So these two would have to include a 1. And it would have to go 1, 5 exactly, actually. Or 1, 2, 3, and then a 2, 3 over there. Based on whether the 6 was in 2 or in 3. Thank you, Peter. Or sorry, Pater. Okay, so if one of these is a crust, what goes wrong? If this is a crust, that becomes a 9. So couldn't this go 8, 1, 9, 6? Wouldn't that work? I have not officially decided that, but I probably will, Memerister. It sounds like a fun thing to do. It's been popular in the past. And I doubt I'll be able to resist the whole time, so I almost certainly will. I would have paused to do it, but I did not want to pause and then come back to this puzzle and then have absolutely no idea what was going on with this puzzle. So I have to finish this puzzle first. Okay. Malcolm says if I make the outies of this row a 1, 2, 3, then that breaks the 2, 3 cell in row 9, column 3. Well, this would be a 9 in that universe. So this would be a 9. This would be a 1 and a 2 or a 3 to pair with that 2 or a 3, and that 2 or 3 would also go over there. Oh, but that would put a 1 over here, and I can't put a second 1 over here. Oh, no, it would be an 8 over there. Sorry, never mind. Sorry, that would be an 8. Where does 9 live in row 9? Not there. So 9 in row 9 lives there or there or there or there. Let's see. Can I rule any of these out? Like 9, 4, 8 is what would happen here. Oh, now that's an interesting point. I had not noticed this. One of these is an 8. Yeah, so the 4 has to be 9, 8, 4. Sorry, 9, 4, 8. 8, 4, 9, one of those. The 4 is in the middle. Okay. The 8 in box 3 rules out 9 from row 9, column 8. Oh, right. Because if this is a 9, it needs to be next to something because of the 0. And so if this was a 9, that would have to be an 8, and it can't be. So in fact, this cell is green. This cell's not 1, 8, or 9. It's not 8 because of the column. It's not 1 because of the box. And I think we can play exactly the same trick here. We can play exactly the same trick here. If this was a 9, it would need to touch an 8, which it could only do there because of the 0 in the column. But then that would break the 8 that's pencil marked here. Yeah. I think it was Liam who pointed out I could make this pencil mark. That's a very useful pencil mark. And now if this is a 9, then that's a 1, and I think that's okay. Unfortunately. Tragic, but true. Okay, so it has been said I cannot possibly make this work with this being a real crust. I'm not sure I completely understand why, but I'm not sure that it's getting us anything yet. Yeah, 9 here would put a 7, 8 here. And then I can't make column 4 work. Okay. So yeah, the 1 is bogus. So I'm actually making 15 between the 8 and the 9. Okay, and so if I'm making 15 between the 8 and the 9, then I need at least 3 digits to go between the 8 and the 9. So that does put some pressure on where the 9 goes. So for example, if I put the 9 here, oh, never mind. I was going to rule out 9 from this cell. never mind. If I put the 9 here for the row, then I would need these 3 to be like 6, 7, 2 with an 8 there, but that all sounds fine. So I need one of these two to be an 8 or a 9. Okay, so if this is an 8, okay, yeah, just by one. J40 has it. If this were an 8, I would need to make my 15 clue in at least 3, so that would have to be the 9. So if this is an 8 and that's a 9, I now need to make these two cells sum to 14, but without using a 9. Whereas 8, 7... Wait, why can't I make these... Right, whereas without using a 9 or an 8. Right, without using a 9 or an 8. And so 7, 6 is 13. That's not many. So this cell is green. It can't be an 8 or a 9 or a 1. And now that cell is there, now I know that the quote-unquote true crust in this column is a 1. And so then my outies here sum to 7. And they either, there's either one of them if this is a 7 or two of them. So there's always a 1 in one of these two cells. And so if there's a 1 in one of these two cells, that does something very big with the 1 in this column. Namely, the 1 in this column, this 1 clue now tells me that this cell can't be purple. Because if this cell was purple, I would need to go purple 1, purple, and that doesn't work. And if this was purple, I'd need to go purple 1, purple, and that doesn't work. So neither of these can be purple anymore, owing to that 1 clue and this 1 pencil mark. And so now this cell's always purple. This is a 1, 8, or a 9. I don't know which one. Oops. If I thought about it very hard, I would probably be able to rule out one of them, but I cannot yet. And so now, if this isn't a crust, I now have to make 15 and 1, which I normally could do, but I can't if I can only use a 2 or a 3. So this is always purple. And now I'm certainly not making 15 and 6, or however many of that. Yeah, I can't make 15 and 6. So this has to be purple. That's green. These are an 8, 9 pair. Now the 0 comes into its own, because the 0 over here tells me that this is purple. And so this is an 8 or a 9. All of these are green. All of these are green, and the sky is gray. Okay, this isn't a 9 anymore per directionary. That's relevant to directionary's point from much, much, much earlier. Okay, we're finally getting to where it feels like we're making progress towards our lives in some capacity. I maybe should not have said that. In retrospect, I see that I have been a fool. Okay. So yes, so the ends of this 27, we've said, could not be 8 and 9 because of the 1s hanging out here. That was a complicated but awesome spot. So now these have to be a 1-9 pair, as Crispy points out, because I need my outies of my 1-9 pair to sum to 8. And so my outies of my 1-9 pair that sum to 8, I can't have 3 of them because I've used the 1. So these are purple and are a 1-9 pair. Not gray, purple, and they are a 1-9 pair. Okay. And so... Nope. So these two cells... and this is part of a sum that adds to 8. So it can't be an 8 because this would need to be a 0. So this cell is green. So these two add to 8 without involving a 1. So they're either 2, 6 or 3, 5. So we'll go ahead and fill in the 2, 6, 3, 5. I will get to finally getting to what chat points out about this column, which is that I have a 4 clue down here. So this, because the 1's already gone, this has to be 4 and this has to be purple. So these are an 8, 9 pair. This is green. This cell sees 1, 8, and 9, so it's green. So now this is also purple. One of these two is the 1 now. Per that. I feel like we're making a lot of progress. Okay, that green's the rest of this column because I have my 3 greens for this column. So if you bet that the betting tree would be green, you bet correctly. We do not have a purple tree, it's true. Okay, so I feel like we should be able to figure out this column now. Oh, no, we can't because of that. Never mind, sorry. We can't, right. Okay, so let's see. So Garion is looking at what happens to the row if this is a 1. So if this is a 1, that's a 9 and an 8. 9 and 8, again, sum to 17. Plus 25 is 39. So these sum to 6, but they can't because of a given 4, and we put a 1 here. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. So that's the 1, but that means it's not green. It is purple. That's a 1. That's green and is hilarious, for the record. So there's a purple over here somewhere. So I could say it this way. The 1 in this box is definitely in one of these 2 cells. Is very cool. So this is either 819 or it's 819. Those are my 2 options. So either way, these are a 1-9 pair, right? Because it's either 819 or 819. So these cells are actually always a 1-9 pair, regardless. It's just a question of where the 8 goes. For that purposes. I don't know if we have the real 22 crusts. It's a good question. Let's see, do we have the real 28 crusts? If we have the real 28 crusts, then these need to add to 7. Can they add to 7? They would need to be 2, 5 exactly. So if these are the real crusts, then those are 2, 5. If these are not the real crusts, then I would need these to add to 7, but I can't because there's a 4 there. Because these would need to add... No, sorry, I did that math wrong. I did the math wrong. Sorry. If there's actually an 8 here, then what happens? If this is actually an 8, then, and that's the real crust, then that would be 8 plus 9 is 17, plus 28 is 37, plus 8 is 45. Right. These are the real crusts. Because if they're not the real crusts, then my real crusts would be 8 and 9, and they would need to be at the top and bottom of the grid. We did this calculation a long time ago because the digits 1 through 7 happen to sum to 28. They don't. So these really are the outies of a sandwich that has 1 and 9 as crusts and 28 in the middle. So these need to sum to 7. They need to be 2, 5. So this is now a triple, which consists of 3, 6, and 7. I guess is maybe starting to put interesting pressure on my 15 sum, because these 3 cells need to sum to 14. I guess is the punchline here. fact that one of these is 8 should let me green something, but I if it does, I don't see it. Sadly. And one of these two is 8. Is it helpful to think about the row 9 outies? Okay, so these sum to 14. 24, 31. So these need to sum to 14, I believe. And so these need to sum to 10. And so then we know what they are. Okay, let me do that math again. I'm pretty sure I did it right, but I want to double check. These cells sum to 15. Plus 17 is 32. Oh, I did do it wrong. Never mind. And so these need to sum to 13. So these need to sum to 9. And so this is a 6 or a 7, but that's disappointing because it doesn't actually tell us anything. Wait, do we have a 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 quadruple? No, that's too many digits. That is more digits than there are digits, unfortunately. See, when it was 10 that these two needed to add up to, it was like, oh, well, I can't make this a 2 then, because that would need to be an 8, and we already have the 8. The solve path in my head when I did the math wrong was very cool. I was so convinced it was right, because it worked out so nicely, but sadly, it was not to be. Let's see. Yeah, let's just change this 15. Do we need to change it to a 14 or a 16? That would probably help. Okay, if this were 1 and that were 9, I would need one of these two to be 8. Okay, is this a coloring exercise on these 8 9s? I wonder. These two 8 9s are the same. Where do they go in this box? I don't quite think. I know. Where's the 8 in box 7? Well, it's not there. Do I know where the 8 in box 7 is? Would I break something if I put it in one of these places? If I made this the 8, even that doesn't break, does it? If I made this the 8, then I'd be making this a 1 9. So if this is 1 9, let's just do the math again. If this is 1 9, maybe it's more interesting now. That would be 10 plus 22. That would be 32, and I need these to add to 13. And so the question is, can these add to, or how would these add to 13? They would be 8 and 5. And sadly, 8 and 5 seems very plausible for this as best I can tell. If these are 8 and 9, okay, so one possibility is that these are 5, 8 in some order. The other possibility is that these add to 22 plus 17, and in which case that's 39, and these two need to add to 6, and then they're 1, 5. So the moral of the story is there's always a 5 in here, although it pains me to even conceptualize how you would you would actually prove that in any meaningful, interesting way. But anyway, one of these is a 5, so it gets us a digit that this is a 2 and a 5, which because these oh, I'm missing an option, says Qodec. The 8, 9 could be in row 8 column. Oh, right. Sorry. This could be an 8, 9, and then this would be a single 6. Yep, that does work. Silly single 6. What happens if row 2, column 8 is the 8? If that's an 8. Then that's an 8. Look at row 5. So it's being claimed that this can't be an 8. I'm trying to understand why. Row 9, column 5 can't be a 5. Let's see. Let's see. Breaks the 15. Okay, if this is a 5, then I need these all to add to 10. Is there something wrong with that? I mean, it seems like it should work automatically. I mean, I know there's a 5 in one of these 2 cells. 9 in row 5 may be of interest. Okay, the 9 in row 5 could be here, can't be here. It could be here, can't be there, could be there. I think there's only 3 spots that 9 can go in row 5. And in row 4, I think we get exactly the same spots. So these are the places where 9 can go. In fact, actually, if you like, these are the places where 9 can go in boxes 4, 5, and 6. And in rows, whatever these are, 4, 5, and 6. In rows 14, 11, and 27. Does that do anything? I fear it may not. Well, here's the thing. This is a tiny, tiny deduction, but I see that this cell sees 1, 8, and 9. So this cell is green. Because it sees a 1, 9 pair in the row and 8 in the column. I doubt it will prove useful, but who knows? Stranger things have proven useful. Okay. Did we decide that maybe the 8 would be a thing? Wait. Did I do math wrong somewhere? I hope not. But it sounds like me, so I probably did. Oh, there's definitely an 8 in one of these cells. Is that remotely interesting? Just by Sudoku. Oh, was it the thing with the 6 over here? Because that's really tricksy. It's just so perfectly set up to bait you into falling for this this trap. Okay, what am I supposed to see? So Nordy asks if this can be an 8. But then retracts. Let's see. Ambrose points out this cell can't be purple. If this cell were purple, yeah, don't worry, Nordy. Everyone here has made about 200 wrong deductions in the process of going through this puzzle, me very much included, to be clear. So this cell, if this cell was purple, it would be an 8. And then we would go 8, 9, 1. But in these cases, why couldn't this go 8, 5 in that instance? 8, 5, and then 9, 1. What's wrong? I don't quite see it. Yeah, one of these is a 9, and that one's definitely a crust for either the 14 or the 11. This 0 in this column is a bit sus now. But I well, I know... Oh, no, I don't know the cell is an 8, do I? Let's see. Okay, so Jay says they believe that this has to be a 9. So what would happen if this was a 1 instead? If this is a 1 instead, then I would need to have a 9 in one of these two next to something. I regret, Mehdi, to say that despite the fact that many of us have made this mistake, the outies in row 8 could be a single 6. I definitely agree, Ambrose. Reading the rules, I also thought that this was going to be a quite tame puzzle and not in the running for the weirdest puzzle I've ever done on stream. Let's see. No, because 9 is pencil marked down here, Nicholas. I know the 9 in this box is in this column. For whatever that's worth. Oh, no problem. Believe me, you're in very good company with making at least one incorrect deduction here. Okay, so Jay is arguing that these digits can't be 9. So let's look through Jay's argument here. So if this is a 9, that's a 1. So that's not the correct crust. And so then where's the 8? Why can't the 8 go here in that universe? Oh, because this is a 1, and because 1 plus, I would need this to be a 13, and in this puzzle I can't put 13 in the digits, right. So if this is a 9, that's a 1, and now I've got to put my 8 here. It's the earliest I can put my 8, and that's too many digits. So this cell's not a 9. If this cell was a 9, then if this was an 8, I would still need to put a 10 here, which also Qodec cruelly won't let us do. So that would have to be an 8, and that would need to add to 11. Okay, yes, I agree. I agree with Jay's point. either of these being 9 would force me to make 11 or 14 in 5 cells, and that's too many cells. So therefore, that's the 9. So that's a 1. So that's a 1. So now that has to be a 9, because right? Yes, that certainly has to be the 9. Because if it's not the 9... Wait, no, I could put a 9 here with a 6 there. No, darn it, I could still do it. Sadly. Okay, so now the 9 in this column... No. Never mind. Did I really know these weren't 9? Right, that's not 9 because I would need to make 25 in 3 or in 2, which doesn't work. So this cell's definitely green. How did I decide that 9 had to go down here? I don't remember. Am I really positive that this isn't a 9, is the question. Oh, right. This was known to be an 8, 9. So that's the 9. This was known to be an 8, 9 with outies of 3, which make this a 2. That was the reason why I was supposed to do this. So we had worked this out. The outies in this column were between an 8 and a 9, and they added to 3. And so once I placed that this wasn't a 9, that had to be a 9, and then these had to be a 1 and a 2. Okay. Now, over here, my outies must be a single 6. Because if my outies aren't a single 6, I need to make 6 and 2, which I can't do as 1, 5, or 2, 4. So this is now a single 6. And 6s, if I know one thing about 6s, it's that 6s are green. Okay. So therefore, that's a 5, and a 2, and an 8, and a 9, and an 8, and a 9. That's not a 6, that's not a 7. These are a 3 and a 6. Which hopefully works. This is a placed 8. Now the 9 in this column must touch one of these. So the 9 isn't there, so that's green. Column 8, chat is excited about me noting that this 9 is 0 away from something, so that's got to be a 1 or an 8, and it's not an 8, so chat is correct. That's a 1, and a 9, and a 1. I don't think this can possibly be an 8. Oh, no, I think it could. Never mind. Right. It could be an 8, because the outies here would need to add to... yeah, if the 1 and the 9 are the real... 22's now broken? Am I allowed a double 9 in box 7? Oh, yeah, you're completely right. Column 2 is broken. I don't have any place to put 9. Uh-oh. What did we do? Yeah, something went wrong. Yeah, much is broken now, all at once. Let's go back to Jay's point about this having to be a 9. Oh, let's see. Qodec says to go back to the 6th place. So does Qodec like up to here? If Qodec has a solution in front of him. This is okay. Okay, so let's just proceed from here carefully. So that is an 8 and a 9 and an 8 and a 9. Right. The Audi is only 6 if the crust is 8, 9. Right. Okay, that's what I screwed up. Okay. So the 9 in this column is up here somewhere. I know that much. If the 9 was here, it would go with an 8. I know these are green. Let's do that. Okay, I see what I see what I did though. What I did was to fall back on thinking the Audis had to be 6, which they don't. Column 8 though, we can place that here, and it has to be a 1, and then this is not that. So that still works. So that gives us a 9 and a 1. Makes that a 9, which makes that an 8. So these are both purple. That is green. So that's purple. And is a 5. No. And is an 8. Try again. Okay. So now this is not an 8-9 sandwich. That would not work. So this is a 9-1 sandwich. So these sum to 32. So these need to sum to 13. So that's a 5. So that's a 2 and a 5. These are all green. These are green. Okay. So these 3 cells add to 11 without using a 1. 11 without using a 1 must be pretty restricted. So it could be 2, 3, 6, or it could be 2, 4, 5. That's not super restricted, unfortunately. Let's see. You can get the digit in row 9, column 3, I'm being told. Correct. So now that we're doing it this way, my Audis here, remember, between the 8 and the Audis, the stuff outside the 8 and the 9 need to add to 3, so this needs to be a 2. And now the stuff outside of here, which is 17 plus 15 is 32, these needed to add to 13, so these two need to add to 9, so that's a 7. Thank you to Tom. I had completely forgotten about that by this point. So we get that. So this is a 3 or a 6 again. Yeah, Garion really wants to place a 2 on the betting tree. These are a 3 and a 6. Yep, these are a 3 and a 6, which gives us a 7 over here. Oops. Which makes this a 3 and a 6. I still know one of these two is 8. I still don't think I know which one it is. Chat seems to know which one it is. I do know. You do. Oh, right. One is the filling. Right. One is the not crust. Because of the placing this 1. Yes. I did not notice it, but as soon as this was the 1, it had to go this direction, which places an 8 up here and purples it and greens this cell. Greens that cell. Beautiful. Okay. So, not an 8. Okay, so, yeah, these 3 sum to 11. These need to sum to something. Let's just fill this in. These are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are from 2, 4, 5. And so that's a 5, because there's a 2-4 pair looking down at it. I would not have spotted that, except chat was saying it over and over again, so I assumed it was correct, and chat was not wrong. These are from 3, 6, and 7 to finish this off. So this is it. Yeah, this is a 3, 5, 6, 7 quad, which means that this is also a 2 or a 4. Or you can go for the hidden if you prefer to go that direction. Okay, so if this was an 8, I would need these two to add... Okay, this can't be the 8. That's cute. So if this was the 8... Oh no, darn it, I was going to say something wrong. Maybe I'm right. If this is an 8, I could not make these the crusts, because I'd need these to sum to 6, but both 2, 4, and 1, 5 are gone. So if this is an 8, I would need to make these two sum to 14, which I could not do, because I could not do 6, 8, and I could not do 9, 5. So yes, this can't be the 8. And so therefore that's the 8, and that's the 8. I don't know. I'm always delighted by, I feel like this is just a deduction that I have no idea why it so delights me, but it really delights me whenever I get to say that both ways to make 6 are broken, so something can't work a certain way. My brain just, it tickles my brain in the right way. Whenever that happens. Okay. Especially when it happens in a very unexpected way. Let's see. These are from 2, 3, 4, 6. 2, 3, 4, 6? Yep, 2, 3, 4, 6. Row 2. Oh, row 2, column 5. Poor row 2, column 5. Whatever happened to you? How did you get lost along the way? Well, I got you now. We're here for you now, buddy. The whole perfect number joke thing reminds me of like someone on some math friend in grad school being on the phone and talking to someone and making a thing and just saying 6 would be perfect to some random person on the phone while I was there and grinning at me. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, these are 2, 4, 5. Seems all well and good. Life is good. Life is good. That's right, and not only is life good, I still get to watch Simon solve a puzzle after this. I'm going to have completely forgotten by the time I actually get to it. Let's see. Let me fill in this quad. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these are 3, 4, 6, and 7. Bet tree removes a digit from the thing. Yeah, the column 3 can be pencil marked. I don't usually like to pencil mark something with 5 options if I can avoid it. This can't be a 7 because then I'd need these to be a 1, 3, and there's already 1 in the row. So I have that. So I guess now that we've finished the coloring, we can embrace filling in the betting tree. So the observation that chat made a bit ago is that if I don't use a 2 in this sum, the minimum I'd get is 3, 4, 5, which happens to be 12. So I need to use a 2, but I can't use a 2 there or a 2 there. So the betting tree actually is a 2. So that's not a 2. And so these two need to sum to 9. And so it's either 3, 6 in some order, or it's 4 and 5. So those are the options. Congratulations, yes, to those of you who bet 2 for the betting tree. You have done very well for yourselves today. So now I can pencil mark this column 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For whatever that was worth. So 2 in row 3 now is only here, actually. That's a very good spot. I know there's a 4 up here. Do I have any sums that are going to be useful, or am I done with sums that are going to be useful? I might be done with sums that are going to be useful. I'm not sure. 4 in row 3 has 2 spots, right? Oh, yeah, these need to sum to 14 still. Do I know anything about that? I don't think so. Right, or 13. Good point. Yeah, we're allowed to use the 1. Oh, but we're not allowed to use a 2. So these actually sum to a minimum of 3, 4, 5, which is 12. Sadly, that doesn't exclude 7. One of these is a 4. So one of these two is a 4. Does it always need a 3 and a 4? Maybe. What if I use 3, 5, 6? Isn't 3, 5, 6 still good? I think 3, 5, 6 is still fine. Right. That 4 and that 4 give us a nice little Jovi wing. So the 4 in row 1 and 2 is claimed in these 2 boxes. So that means there's no 4 to be found here. So those are a 2 and a 5. So there's no 5 to be found there. The 4 in this box... Actually, sorry, the 4 in this box isn't there either. So the 4 in this box actually is here. So these are not 4. That 2, 5 looks down and makes that a 4, actually. Which goes back and places the 4 over here and makes that a 2 and a 4 and a 2. Now, in order to make this add to 11, these do need to be a 3, 6 pair. These are from 3, 6, 7, but that one's not 3 or 6, so it's a 7. It's a weird naked single. This is 3 or 6. That's not 7, so that's 7. So that is not a 7. 2 in row 6. That's not row 6. Let's try again. 2 in row 6. 2 in row 6 goes here. Thank you. So that's right. And the outies here need to sum to 8. So therefore that's a 6 and a 3 and a 6 and a 3 and a 3 and a 6. This is not 3 or 6. It is 5 or 7. So this is also 5 or 7, I suppose, is one of the morals of the story. Row 5 has a couple digits left over that are still not yet placed. They are a 4 and a 5, and because of the given 4, it's a 5 and a 4, which gives us a 7 and a 5. Means that's not a 5. These aren't 3. That's not a 7. That's a 5, 6 pair, so these aren't 5 or 6. That is the 5 for the column. This is a 3 or a 6. And so for column 1, the thing we're left with, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is a 7, which looks across there and gives us a 3 and a 7. Means that's not a 7. This is a 3, a 5, or a 6. This is apparently not a 3. Who knew? Let's see. We're very close now. Do I have a sum I have not done? I probably have not done this 14 sum yet, right? Yeah, if there's no 3 here, this is MathPesto's point. If there's no 3 here, then these sum to 6 plus 7 plus 4, which doesn't sound like 14 plus to me. And you could add 1 to it, but it's still not 14. So one of these two is a 3, which makes that a 6, and a 3 and a 6. And a 3 and a 6, and a 4 and a 3. And a 7 and a 6, and a 3, and a 7 and a 3. And a 2 and a 4. Did I do that wrong? A 2 and a 4, and a 5 and a 2, and a 6 and a 5, and a 6. And our last digit is a 5. Congratulations to any of you who bet 2. Zach is very excited for you. Wonderful puzzle. Quite a brain burner. Almost purely out of schadenfreude, I now want to watch someone else solve this puzzle. But what a puzzle. That was, I did not know my brain bent that way, but apparently, with the help of a giant group of you watching to help me and make sure I didn't go astray, you can make this work. Alrighty. I'm going to pause and take a real quick break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to watch Simon solve my puzzle double together. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly. And then we will do a live watch of Simon's solve of my puzzle, so it should be fun. Be right back. Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. I'm gonna try and move around the scene so that we can see the grid. Let's get to the point in Simon's video where we can see where the grid is, and then I'll try and arrange it so you can see the grid. So just in case you're not quite sure what on earth is happening, Simon on Cracking the Cryptic solved one of my puzzles today, so we're going to watch it with some amount of commentary. You can appreciate, by the way, I'll move my camera for a second so you can appreciate the just gorgeous super zeta hanging out over there. Did I make the Z for zeta? I did make the Z for zeta, yes. I could, for plausible deniability, claim it was meant to be a 2, but I was futzing around drawing random stuff trying to make this puzzle work for so long. And then I came across this, and originally, actually, this line bent this way to make the zeta stop emoji. So this was originally going to have as the center thing the zeta stop, but this taking this corner just screwed up all of the other stuff. And yeah, I'm going to move myself once we see where Simon is. Oops. I don't know why it started there. Okay. Let me know how volume is. Make sure you can hear it. So first of all, can you hear it at all? That's question one. You can't hear it. Okay. Oh, I need to add computer audio. I bet I can do that. Okay, one moment. Audio output capture, I think, is what I want. Desktop audio. Okay. We've added desktop audio. Okay, let's try again. See if you can hear the theme music. How about now? I think you should be able to. No? No sound still. Okay, what's going on? Okay, one moment. Why are you not showing up? Still no. Okay. Properties, default. Yeah, this is not the thing I wanted, I don't think. Okay, that's not the thing I wanted. What is the thing I want? Sorry about this. You know what, actually? I should just switch to my... Okay, what is this? Okay. Game audio is the thing I want, apparently. Can I copy this? Is there any chance it'll let me do that? Copy, yes. Okay, I might be able to just steal it from my video game streaming thing. Yeah, you're not that far away from me, all considered. So if I just play it loud enough, it should be okay. All right, let's try it again. Okay, it looks to me like you can now hear it.
Cracking the Cryptic, where today we're going to be looking at another 100% rated puzzle, this time by the great zetamath. This one's called Double Double, and it involves cells that have to be treated as doublers.
It's a little quiet. Okay.
And there's even a Z for zetamath in the middle of the grid. And that could even be...
How's that? I increased it, I think, significantly for you.
I'm not sure. But yeah, there's clearly some graphic design gone into the creation of this puzzle.
Okay, let me pause the video and try and rearrange the screen just a smidge so we can see more Simon. And then we can move me so I'm not covering Simon. I can sit above Simon and look at him. By the way, you should absolutely buy the Cracking the Cryptic apps. I think they're very good. Before I position myself over them. Okay. I also need to make the sound loud enough that I can hear it. Okay. Let's continue and see how that is. I can increase this. I can increase the size a bit further, I think. Yeah, there we go. How about that? Now we're getting pretty close to optimal screen usage there, I think. I'm going to have to completely reset my Penpa scene later. Will this be an excuse to put off doing something in Penpa again? How's that? Okay. Let us...
Popular. I don't think it's monstrously hard, according to Logic Masters Germany. It's got 4 stars out of 5 for difficulty, which is... well, we'll see.
I love 4 stars being described as not monstrously hard.
A few things to mention first. Let me do the birthdays. Matthew, it's your birthday today. Your wife Kimberly told us about that, so I hope that you have a brilliant day. And also Harmon, it's your birthday today, and your wife Inga wrote us an absolutely gorgeous email, and she told me that you've turned the secret age today, which of course is the triangular number for 9, which many of you will know if you watch the channel is 45. So happy 45th birthday, Harmon, for today. I think you're over in Delft, and I believe your family. So your wife, you, and your daughter have now today reached the grand old age of 100, which is a very nice fact as well. And happy birthday, Inga.
I always find the
26th of
birthday
September
greetings very sweet.
coming soon. Anyway, that's the birthdays. I hope, obviously, all birthdays today get lots of cake as usual. And what else is going on? Well, I think the big news really, which is something we've been stunned by, has been the response to our solve of this puzzle on Patreon. So this is a puzzle called Jabberwocky
I haven't
by
watched
Dad
this
Jokes.
yet.
And Mark and I, well, we were far from sure whether it would be popular,
Congrats,
but we
by the way,
recorded a video
Dad
yesterday
Jokes.
in which we solved the puzzle together. So we're both sort of contributing ideas as we go along. And the feedback has been, amazing. I think the most used adjective in the comments on the video is the word love. You guys seem to love watching us solve together, which we were not expecting at all. And so we're definitely going to do it again. But I do think, the feedback suggests it's a video that's well worth watching. So if you are a patron, you haven't checked out the video yet, do have a look at it. If you're not a patron, it might be worth becoming a patron.
Okay, I'm all for Ambrose's suggestion in the chat. Bet on which Simonism will be the first Simonism to appear in the video. I think Bobbins is a likely option.
See it. And there's a lot of other content. Obviously, we've got our monthly rewards over on Patreon too, and you've still got
Let's
4
Get
more
Cracking
days
doesn't count
to get in your answers to our linked
That's
Sudoku
cheating.
hunt, which appeared on the 1st of September. And if you want to play Jabberwocky, by the way, by Dad Jokes, you can find a link to play this puzzle under this video, and it's a very good puzzle. You have to solve it in 3 stages. So there's sort of an abstract Sudoku stage where almost each one of these 3x3 boxes is treated as a separate puzzle, almost. Then there's a snake stage, and finally there's a normal Sudoku stage at the end. So it's a rather wonderful congregation of ideas, if you like, and yeah, do have a look at it anyway. But that's not the puzzle we're going to be doing in this video. That is this one. The other thing to mention, though, is that tomorrow night Mark and I are going to be streaming 10 o'clock UK time. Love to have your company for that. We're going to be continuing our journey through
is a good one,
our 500,000
Liam.
subscriber special puzzles from our recent free app, which you can download on your devices. It's available on Steam, on Android, and on App Store. So just search for Cracking the Cryptic, and you should be able to locate it.
It's funny because the secret doesn't work well
I'm going to
on
read you the rules
puzzles.
to double, and then I'm going to try and solve it. So the rules are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply. The digit in the square cell is 2, 4, 6, or 8. I think it means the grey square cell, because there's a lot of square cells in this puzzle, but I'm presuming that one. That's got to be an even digit.
It never occurred to me.
The rest of the clues in the grid are double arrow clues, i.e. the sum of the digits along a line is equal to the sum of the digits in the circles at either end of the line. So let's just check we understand that. So that means that this cell and this cell, you add them up, and that should also be the total of those cells along the line. I think that's how it works. So what about a short line? So a short line is telling us those 2 cells. So, I see. So imagine that was a 1 and a 2. Then that would be a 3. 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. I think that's how it works. Let's do a slightly longer one. So if that was 2 and that was 5, that's 7. So now I need to make those add up to 7, which I could do like that. So I think, right, I'm starting to get the hang of this idea. Digits may repeat freely along a double arrow. Okay. Well, presumably that's unless you break normal Sudoku rules. I don't think you can do something like this. That's not going to work, but I think you can. What that means is you could do something like that. Now, addition.
Note, I specifically said the digit is 2, 4, 6, or 8, rather than letting there be any confusion about doublers. So I did not use the word even or anything of that sort. I'll note, by the way, one thing that always throws people who don't do lots of double arrows is realizing that this cell has to be big, because just you're so inclined in thinking about regular arrows to think, this cell is the little one, but it actually has to be big. And so like realizing that like these 2 circles actually can't be 9 is an interesting thing. We'll see if Simon gets that right away. I've seen Simon do a few double arrows now.
Additionally, the grid contains 9 doublers, 1 in each row, column and box. For purposes of double arrow clues, cells on doublers count as double their value. Okay, well that's going to render absolutely otiose all of those examples I just did, because what that's saying is imagine that cell is a doubler, which we will award the mantle of redness to indicate doublingness. So imagine this cell was, I can't remember what the numbers I put in, let's say it's 5 and 2 again, then this counts as 10. So that's 10 plus 2 is 12. So these have to add to 12 is how I think that might work. Although, what if that was a doubler as well? Then that could be, I don't know, that could be 5 again, I suppose. No, that won't work, will it? Because then that's going to make that a 2. So if that's a 4, oh, that could be then a 4. This is very strange.
If he doesn't realize you can't repeat doublers, this is going to be a long video.
10 plus 2 is 12. 3 lots of 4, which is effectively what happens when you double this one, is also 12. So that might be how this rule works. And there's one more rule which says each digit from 1 through 9 is doubled exactly once. Right. So each doubler, so effectively we're going to find one doubler in each box, aren't we? And as we look through the grid, we're going to have one of each number doubled.
This is, I think, only the second doubler puzzle Simon has done, to my knowledge. Although there are lots of them that I think are well worthy of CTC features. Like Jay Dyer submitting Whisper Whisper would be great, I think. Whisper Whisper is great.
Well, I'm thinking it's going to be one of the long lines. It's either going to be this one or this one, I think. That's got 6 digits. Right. Well, that's impossible. Straight. Oh, no, it's not impossible because I have to. Right. Okay. I'm forgetting about the doublers already. Right. So these cells here are a minimum. If we put the absolute minimum in here, I even got the even cell right. Look at that. We would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which add up to 21. So that means, I think, these 2 cells have to add up to at least 21. Well, obviously that's impossible. Unless we have this doubler mechanic going on. Because even if I double 9 to those cells, they would only add up to 18. So at least one of these 2 cells is doubled, possibly both of them. Now, I don't have a good way of notating that.
Is Playmaker on Mark today?
Right, okay, but I'm actually wondering whether the point of the doubling of one of these cells is not... This is suspicious.
Congratulations, Playmaker.
Look at those cells there. Well, once you know that at least one of the cells in this corner of the square, this big square here, once we know that one of those at least is doubled, neither of the other end cells can be doubled, and that looks deeply suspicious because those are at the end of the other long line in the grid. So these cells are definitely not doubled.
Simon was very fast to notice this.
Green is the colour I'm going to make not doubled. Although red-green colourblind people... Although, hang on. I'm just thinking about if I use red for doublers and green for not doublers, is that going to give people a problem who are red-green colourblind? But I think people tell us anyway that the red-green we use in our palette is actually not offensive for red-green colourblind. So hopefully you'll allow me that today. Because there should only be a few red cells as well. So it's not like where we're going to have parity colouring where it's all going to be very mixed up. There's only going to be one red cell in each box. So hopefully this will be okay.
This is something I always worry about with the red and green next to each other, but I have heard from at least a few people that it's not a big deal. If I'm only going to use 2 colors, I don't use red and green, but of course you only get 9 colors to choose from, and one of them is black and 2 of them are gray. So if you end up coloring lots of things, you inevitably use the red and the green, and it is possible to choose a red and a green, and I think they have so that it's distinctive, but
now, let's work this out. So the maximum value of these cells now is a genuine 18. If we double 9 these cells, neither can be doubled, so these cells have to add up to a maximum of 18. That's not actually that. That's restricted already. Because the minimum value these cells can add up to is 16, I think. And I'm getting that by putting 1, 2, 3, and 4 in this row, which is the minimum I could put in. They would add up to 10. And the minimum then these could be would be a 1, 2, 3 triple, adding up to another 6. So 16 is the minimum, just from the line's perspective, and from the circle's perspective, 18 is the maximum. So what does that mean? Well, one thing I can see is that I can't make that 2, 3, 4. Because if I make that 2, 3, 4, once I add the 10 to that, which is the minimum I can put up there, I'll get 19, which is too many. So there must be a 1 in this string of digits, and there must be a 1 in this string of digits by exactly the same logic, but applied to those squares being 2, 3, 4 versus those 4 squares being a minimum of 10. So if these were both... Oh, hang on a minute. So I'm now wondering what the value of this digit potentially is. So if we put the absolute minimum into these squares, we'd have 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3, which is 12. So this cell cannot be greater than 6. So if I double 9 those squares, minimize these squares, this would still be able to be 6 maximum. So this is 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, whoa, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. It's not 1 because it's got lots of 1s pointing at it. And we could, I suppose, have doublers along here, but that would be very tricky to have a doubler, because it would have to be a doubled very low digit, because we know we've only got sort of a couple of degrees of freedom from the very minimum we could put in this 7-cell sequence. Right. So, okay, but if this is a minimum of 16...
Simon is about 10 minutes into the solve, give or take.
These are genuine numbers, aren't they? So I keep getting confused in my brain with the doublers. But these are genuine numbers, and they have to add up to at least 16. So neither of them can be a 6. So that's going to be 7, 8s and 9s into these cells. One of these at least is doubled. Ah, this is doing my head in, actually. My brain is just not responding to this at all. I
got my karma for doing this to Simon before watching this by doing that Qodec puzzle.
Why am I finding this so difficult? So... that could be double 8, couldn't it? Of course, these don't see each other. Although, if these are the same digit, that digit gets restricted on our Z symbol in the middle. It's like a Superman symbol that zetamath's put in the middle of his puzzle.
That is the correct next step, more crabs.
Zetaman. Right. I think there's got to be a way we can get some handle on where these doublers are. Because until we do that, everything is so floaty and so nebulous. It's going to be awfully difficult. So this is quite a big number. But even here it's not easy to see how this works. Because I could put small or large numbers in here, and I could get to a large... If there's a large number in here, like say if this was a 7, and this was a normal 7, an undoubled 7, and that was a 9, that's 16, which I could make with this single cell by making it a doubler, making it double 8. And this could be quite a small digit on the other hand. It could be a 4. Yeah, it could actually be a 4 doubled. Because if that's a 4 doubled, that could be a 1 and that could be a 7 and that works. Yes, so there is some... It's horrible until we get some sort of grip on the doublers. We're not going to be... It must be to do with this Z, I think. So I know one of these is doubled. If both of them are doubled, does that break the puzzle somehow? Let me just think about that. So if they're both doubled, I don't think they're seeing each other, then everything would become green. All of these would become green. All of these would become green. Again, that doesn't seem to be hitting a great deal of stuff, does it? All right, forget that. I don't think that's a good thought. One of these is doubled.
There you go. No. Go back to the horizontal one.
Maybe it's this line. Okay, so if you can't put 1 on this line, that's a minimum of 2, 3, and 4, adding up to 9. But that's very much equal to that, isn't it? So that these could be quite similar digits, and there's no problem at all. No, okay, that's not it either.
Did you happen to do this one, Playmaker?
That digit is... What's that digit? This is another one like this, I think, where we've got... So this is 7, 8, or 9. Ah, no, right, okay, maybe it's this one.
There.
Maybe that has to be doubled here. Because this can't be a 1. I'm just wondering if it can be a 2, because if it can't be a 2, if that's at least 3, then 7 plus 3 is 10, and that cannot equal 10 without being doubled. So can that be a 2 is the question I'm wondering about. And if that was a 2, this would be 1, 3, 4, 5 at a minimum.
For Simon to get this.
Which is 13. And that would be at least 6, which is 19, and that's not possible. Good grief. Right. So the key is that this is not a 2. Because if it's a 2, this line adds up to 19 at least, and you can't make those circles add up to 19 because they're both natural. So this is at least a 3, which means this is at least a 10, which means this is doubled. So that's doubled. And that is our first doubler. Now we can do some greenage, because those have all got to be green. This box has got to be green, and all of these have got to be green, because that's what the rules tell us. There is one doubler in each row, column, and box. So let's just work out what are the values that are possible in this cell now. If that's minimum, which is 3, actually, I'm just going to check. Can that actually be 3?
That is 3, awesome,
this
Joe.
This is 1, 2, 4, 5 is a minimum, which is that does work. That does work.
We'll see if Simon does a reaction video to my reaction.
18, which would require double 9.
Maybe Mark
here,
can react to my
possible,
reaction.
I think. So this is at least 3, which I'm not going to pencil mark. And so this is
pencil
at least
mark
5.
that is at least 3.
Because obviously 3 plus 5, or 3 plus 7 is 10. Half of 10 is 5. Right. Oh, I know what it is. I've got it. Right. Okay, now this is not doubled, but we worked out right at the very start, one of these two at least was doubled. So if this is not doubled, that's doubled. And now we've got 2 doublers. And now I can do more greenification of the world. In fact, loads of greenification. It's a very
Green
eco-friendly
everywhere.
puzzle. And now... Well, what does that mean? Well, now, hang on, that's now a natural sequence, which is troubled. Right, okay, because this is constrained now, because that's so big. So if that's minimum, which would be 1, 1 plus 7 is 8, so that is 8 or 9. That's 8 or 9. That's 1 or 2. And that can't be 9 anymore. Because if it's 9, this is going to have to be a 2-digit number. And that... okay, so now this can't be double 9 anymore. So there's only one degree of freedom on the long line. This is very clever. It's so intricate, and the way these lines sort of bounce back and forward between each other is strange and wonderful. So yeah, if this can't be double 9, the maximum value for this now would be 8 plus 9, which is 17, and the minimum value is 16. So now we might have to have 2's in both of those sequences. So if we didn't, if we had 1, 3, and 4 there, that doesn't work because that's adding up to 8. And 8 plus a minimum there of 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is 10, is 18, which we've now said we can't do. So there is now a 2 in both of these strings, which means that that little cell at the junction is not a 2. Now, we already knew that couldn't be a 2. Does it now have an inability to be 3 again? I think 3 gave... Right, I'm going backwards and forwards here. So if this is 3, this is 1, 2, 4, 5 minimum, which is 12. That's a minimum of 6, which is 18 again, which we've just said we can't do. So now this is at least 4. 4 plus 7 is 11, so double 5 doesn't work anymore. So this is now 6, 7, 8, or 9. And there's there's something going on with parity here, isn't there? I want to say that these are the same parity. Yeah, because the effect of doubling this digit is to create a number that's divisible by 2, to create an even digit, where these two need to add up to an even digit. So if this is odd, that must also be odd. If that's even, that must also be even. So there is a sort of parity thing going on between those digits, which we will label with a P for parity in the corner. Those have the same parity.
It's an interesting use of the letter tool.
But I don't think that's going to be terribly useful just now. I mean, that could be very low or very high, I think. So, what do we do next? We could think about... I don't know. It's another of these puzzles where my intuition is not playing ball at all.
I think row 4 column 7 can't be a 9.
Now have to be... We know they're adding up to at least 21, and we've only got one doubler to play with. So if this was 9, which is the most it could be, this would have to count for 12 at least, which means it must be doubling at least 6. So that is at least 6. 6, 7, 8, or 9.
Oh,
now,
row 4.
hang on a moment, though. Can that actually be 6? And the reason I ask that is the moment I make that 6, I now can't put 6 on this line anymore. So the minimum value for this line would now be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 7, which is 22, which I can't get to because this cannot be a 10. So
Simon saw that a lot faster than I did.
This is now not a 6. So this is a 7, 8, or a 9. I've got a 7, 8, 9 triple in this column. Now, oh yes, now I wonder... Is it really possible that I can put 7, 8, and 9 on this line here? So let me try that. If I put 1, 2, and 7 on here... No, that's not... It's total nonsense. We clearly can't have a 7, 8, or a 9 on this line, because then the minimum these three digits add up to is 10. 10 plus 10 is 20, which breaks the total for those two digits. So that means in this box there is a 7, 8, and a 9 up here by Sudoku. So this line might be where we have to look next. But hang on, I could have doublers up here. In fact, no, hang on, I've got to have a doubler up here. Oh, bobbins.
There's the bobbins.
Oh, once you could have doublers, it just becomes too open again. Like, even if these are massive, you know, this could be doubled. I'd love to know what the other digit is in here, actually. That might give me some sort of ability to work out.
I wonder how early the first bobbins was in a Simon video.
I don't know. Right. I don't know where to look. I really don't know where to look. Does that digit have to be large? If that's 9 and it's doubled, no, it doesn't. If that's 9 and doubled, then to get to 21, which is all we'd need to get to, this only has to be a 3. Wow. Can this line have a big number on it? I'm wondering if I can force this to have to contain these 2 digits. If this line's got a 7 on it, then it's a minimum of 22. That couldn't be a 7, but it's doubling a bigger number, so that's helping it to reach 22, and this is still low. That's no use at all. This can have big numbers on it. It's not the same as these. So is it these again then? So if these, we know that, right, we know these sum to either 16 or 17. And the only way...
A couple of people in chat are mentioning you can prove that this cell has to be a doubler down here.
And an 8 here.
Which you can, although I hadn't noticed it, but people showed it to me. You can actually at this point prove it.
Here. Make this a 7. And that, and they force that to be... Oh, hang on, this is right, that's interesting. I didn't spot this. But you actually get 4 sides of this square. This sort of square that we've got going on here. If you make this add up to 17, there's only one way to do it. It forces both of these digits to be the same number, because this has to be 7 through the logic we've worked out already and the fact it can't be 8 or 9. And now what can this digit be? Well, we've doubled 7 to get 14. We know this line adds up to at least 21, so this needs to be at least 7, and it can't be 8 or 9, so that becomes 7 as well. So what does that mean? Does that break for some reason? Yes, I'm going to... Actually, that does break. That's very pretty. That's very pretty, right. The question we just asked now is the simple one, which is that once we've got double 7 in these corners of the squares, we know the contents of this line. If I actually pencil mark it, it might be easier to see what the problem is. This line has to contain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 to be a minimum 21, which is what we know is the maximum we can get to with the other sides of the square. And now look at the problem in this box. And the problem is, what on earth do you put in this cell? This cell needs to be an 8 or a 9 by Sudoku, but it sees an 8-9 pair in the column.
I find often Simon sees these things in a way that's sort of like the same but backwards is the way I do, because my brain sees that as where did the 2 highlighted digits go in box 5? They don't. Whereas he sees it as in this is a naked single nothing, which is very interesting.
So it's broken. Now that's huge, actually. That is huge, because now... Well, no, actually...
That's exactly what I was thinking, Woofer.
No, that's not huge. I thought it was going to be huge, but it's not. Well, it's a little bit interesting, because now this cannot be a 9-8 pair. That we have established. And therefore, we know that this adds up to a maximum of 16. And therefore, we know how this must be made up. Because the only way you can make this add up to 16 is going to be 1, 2, 3 here, 1, 2, 3 here, and 4 here. So the way to see that, I suppose, simply is, what's the minimum you can put there? Well, that's going to be 1, 2, 3 triple, and that forces you to have the minimum here, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple, in order to keep it down to 16. What's this digit? If this is a 1, 2, 3, 4
Zach
quadruple, that having been a 1, 2, 3 triple, well, it's a 4. So the 4 is always going to be at the junction. Otherwise, you're going to have a problem. And now, well, now what does that mean? The part of the problem here is we don't know still. We know these add up to 16, but they could still be 8, 8 or 7, 9. If they're 7, 9, they have to be one particular way round. This would have to be 9.
Simon's just never going to remove 7 from the cell just to torture all of you.
So if that's 9...
We keep pointing out that the cell can't be 7 and hasn't been able to be.
8 because it sees the 9 and the 7. But then this could be as much as 8 now, so this could be adding up to 24, and by the secret, 32, which makes those two have to add up to 13, because we need the whole box to add up to 45. Something I only tell my favourite people, but you're definitely in that set of the Venn diagram if you're still with me after 32 minutes of me gibbering on today.
Good night, Nicholas.
Now, 13 here without being 5, 8 is either going to be... Oh, that's a 9 now, so this square has to be 9, 7. This square has to be 4, 6. 9, 7 here is pushing 9, 7 here. 8 on this line. I mean, it forces an awful lot if this is true, but I can't see why it's broken. So, what is it then? 2, 3, 4 here. So this digit is now at least 5 and is a natural digit. So I'm just going to put in I'm going to good lift this and see if I can understand it. So now we've got at least 12 here. And the double 6 does for that beautifully. Bother. Oh, no. No, that's not going to work, actually. Because the fact that this has to add up to 16 now removes the fact that this can be a 7. Because a 7 here would require a 9 here, and that's not available. So this is now 8 or 9, which means the minimum this is adding up to is 13. 13 divided by 2 is more than 6, so that cannot be 6 or more. Yeah, it is more than 6. It's 6.5. So this now has to be 7, 8, or 9.
Now realizing it can't be 9 is very helpful.
9. Those can't be the same. How can we force these to be the same? We could. If that's 9 and that's 7 and that's 8, what does that one become? If this is 9, this is 7, this is 8, this can't be 8 now, and it can't be 9. So this would be 7, 14, that would be 9, that would be 5, and that's not broken. Okay, sorry, that doesn't work either. What about...
I hope he sees the 7-8 pair. I've seen a couple people make it through without quite appreciating that it was just a 7-8 pair.
Maybe that's the point I've got to worry about. If that's 7, 14... We know we're heading up. We know this would then be... That would be a 7, 8, 9 triple. because this would have to be at least 7. No, okay, that doesn't seem to do it. 2, 3, 4. We've got a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple here, so these squares have to be from 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Yes, all right, zetamath, you've got me. I'm going to pencil mark it. I'm feeling very, very adrift with this one. So that's quite a big natural digit, but we can just correct for anything with doublers. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 down here. Those cells have got to be quite
exactly
big now.
one S cell is doubled. Terrifying.
5, 6, 7 minimum. That's 18. Right. I see what you've done here, you naughty man. Right, here we go. Now I'm going to pencil mark this fully, just to show you what's occurring to me here. What's the minimum value of those cells? Well, if I 5, 6, and 7 them, they're adding up to 18 minimum. I've still got to put that cell in, so that's 19 minimum for those cells. Well, there's simply no way we can make those circles add up to 19 without the use of, you've guessed it, a doubler. So that cell is red. And that means all of these, and all of these turn green.
I know. How dare I?
That's got to be huge, hasn't it? So now we can... Well, now we're very much limiting our doubler locations in 4 other boxes.
Someone has also not noticed these 2 cells aren't doubled.
For some reason, this area looked like it wasn't that sort of nature, but it is. Now, this digit, I think has to be... Oh, no. I was about to say it has to be a big number, but maybe it doesn't, because now it's getting... So what's the least it could be? We know this is 19 at least, so this can't be... I want to say this can't even be 5. If this is 5, that doubles to 10, plus 8 is 18, and we know this is adding up to at least 19, so this is actually quite big. 6, 7, 8, or 9. If I can get rid of 6, then I've got a 7, 8, 9 doubler triple. A strange sentence. If this is 6, these have a minimum value then of 20 if they were 5, 7, and 8. And that doesn't work. Hang on, this is important, I think. If that's a 6, yeah, it doesn't work. It's lovely. It just fails. Because if this is an 8, which is the most it could be, the circles would add up to 20. But these cells, which would have to be a 5, 7, 8 minimum, would add up to 20, and I've still got to add that one in. So that's 21 altogether, which is more than these can possibly be. So that is not 6, and now I have got a 7, 8, 9 doubler triple. And now I've nearly got a normal quadruple in this box. So if this is 7 now, can we break that as well? If this is 7, this is a minimum of 5, 6, and 8, which is 19. Plus 1 is 20, but that's actually fine then, because we get double the 7, and we get to at least 21 in these squares. So I've got lots of latitude. So that's weird, the way that just suddenly flips around the other way and is absolutely fine. I suppose it's because when we were mucking about with 6 here, we were taking out a low digit from this total and therefore pushing the total up dramatically. Whereas when this is 7,
that's a very cute way to think about it, more
the availability of the 5 and the 6. Right.
Sudoku Groundhog's Day. I like it.
Okay. What on earth do we do now? It must matter that these are the same. That feels very
thinking that
zetamath
this is a 9, or it could be a 9, is really hitting him.
Maybe the point is that all the other doublers now have to not be 7, 8, and 9. I see. That's almost really fascinating here. So if we can, yeah. Oh, okay. But no, we didn't know. We didn't know. So there's a 789 triple in this 2x2 here. And wherever they go, they are not the doubler. There is another cell here that's the doubler. Right. So in this box, the doubler is a 4, 5, or a 6 because it's not a 1, 2, or 3, and it can't be a 7, 8, 9. So there is a 4, 5, or a 6 in there, which we already knew. But we now know it's the doubler. Oh, I know something. Those are not doublers. Those are not doublers, because if we double anything along this line, I can't make these add up to 16 anymore, because this would add up to 17, and we proved that didn't work. So those are green. And if they're green, one of these squares is a doubler. These aren't. These are green, therefore. So there's a doubler in one of those. There's a doubler in one of these. Oh, this is beautiful. Right. Oh, no, it isn't beautiful. No, it's not. I was about to stupidly eliminate 7, 8, and 9 from both these cells on the basis of this doubler triple. But I can't. I can only eliminate 7, 8, 9 from the one of these that's a doubler, and I don't know which one of these is the doubler. Oh, okay, but I do know, therefore, that the 5 or the 6 here is the doubler. Because it can't be the 7, 8, the 9.
Oh, wow. He's going to find the 4, 5, 6 triple in doublers before he figures out how to break the 7, 8, 9 tripler.
So,
doubler.
I am going to claim that these 3 boxes now
he absolutely
have a
is
4, 5, 6 doubler triple in them.
Wow. That's awesome.
The doubler digit here is not 1, 2, or 3 and can't be 7, 8, 9, so it's 4, 5, or 6 in one of those cells. The doubler digit here is the same. It's a 5 or a 6 because it can't be a 7, 8, or a 9. And the doubler digit here can't be a 1, 2, or 3, and we know it can't be a 7, 8, 9. So it must be a 4, 5, or a 6. So altogether, the doublers between these boxes are 4, 5, and 6, and that means the doublers in these boxes are 1s, 2s, and 3s. I think I might be doing this wrong, because if this is the way you're meant to solve this, this is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant, but it's not easy at all. It's 42 minutes in. Okay, come on, Simon.
I mean, everything he's saying is part of the solve path. It's just usually you have a little more filled in the grid before you figure these things out. But I mean, he's brilliant to notice this.
Well, it feels to me a fascinating thing that the doublers in these 3 boxes are 1s, 2s, and 3s, but how on earth am I meant to work out where they go? Please, somebody tell me. Preferably using your time machine.
So, by the way, if you look at this grid and the very first thing you thought was, God, why on earth did Zeta use an even square here? That's so hacky. It's because I really wanted this exact set of 3 different triples and doublers, where you knew where the 7, 8, 9 was, the 4, 5, 6, and the 1, 2, 3. But the way I accomplished that was through this 1, 2, 3. But this 1, 2, 3 basically creates a gigantic deadly pattern through this, where you're not going to be able to, where you're not ever going to be able to sort out the 1, 2, 3s without an extra little piece of information. And so this even square is there to sort that out. But I didn't think it was going to be possible without some sort of off-color disambiguator to actually keep that. And I wanted to keep this 1, 2, 3 triple action. And yeah, this face paw, or this freeze frame one Simon is amazing.
double a digit up here, but I know it's a 4, 5, or 6, but I just don't know where it goes. It could be on the arrow. It doesn't have to be on the
Is he
arrow.
going to fill in this cell and get a triple without ever figuring out the fact that neither of these can be 9? It's very possible.
The only other thought is there some way we can force these digits to be... These have to be a genuine triple. They all have to be different. The problem is this digit is so flexible.
So row 4, column 4 can't be a 9 because as soon as row 4, column 4 is a 9, it makes this a 7 and this an 8, and those only add to 15, but the minimum of this line is 16. It eats 2 degrees of freedom if this is a 9. That's a little harder to see than this can't be a 9, because if this is a 9, it's saying those 2 digits add to 9 without being 9.
Let me think about this. So if... It's not this parity thing, is it? That's not somehow relevant.
Good, good. Look at that cell.
If that's 9, that's 7, this becomes 8, that becomes 7 then. And that becomes 5. I think I looked at this before. That's absolutely fine, isn't it? So then I get 9 here, 7 here, 8 here, 7 here, 9 in the corner. There's no 9 here, therefore. What was this digit? That was a 7 under this analysis, wasn't it? So I'd have 7, 9, but this is doubled, so I'd have 25 into these squares, which is big, actually. Without a 9, that is big. 8, 7, 8, 7, 6, 4. So I get a 4 here. And 8, 7, 6 here. Oh, this is crazy. This is just too difficult to see. It's too difficult to see. So, if that's 8, that becomes 8 as well, doesn't it? Because we need 16, so we get double 8, but I think that's not going to be... I suppose that becomes 9 then. So that becomes 7. So, oh, that becomes 9. Oh, hang on. Is that right? Hang on, let me just look at this, because I've not thought about this before. So if we go double 8 here, because this now has to be 9, which I hadn't spotted or thought about, that becomes 7. Now that digit's under some pressure now.
Yeah, I think Ranks saw this by seeing that this was going to just break, because now this red cell's broken.
This doesn't work at all. I think, well, I was about to say it's fairly simple. It's not simple at all, but it is. I can now see, once you have the right structure to the thoughts, it is fairly clear why this is broken. Yes, in fact, what I should have done, the way I could have got this more quickly, I think, is I've still got 9 pencil marked in here. Well, that's a silly digit to have in there, isn't it? Because 9 doubled is 18, and there's no way I can make these 18 without making those double 9 as well. So I'd have 3 9s in that little triomino. That's clearly nonsense. So we could have removed the 9 from here. Still don't think this is that easy to see. But now, the point is that if you do try and make this 8, it's very clear this becomes 7. And that means this has to be 9. But because this is 8, this becomes 8. And that's an 8-9 pair in that column, and that breaks that digit. So there are a few ways you can see this. It depends. It doesn't really... You could make this 8, which forces this to be 8, which forces this to be 9, and this to be 7, and then say, but that's 7 as well, and you get a repeated digit in red. That's one way you could say it's broken, because you can't repeat a digit in a red. Or you can break it by looking at the fact that the effect this has on this cell.
I've seen a few people who see it in this direction. I saw this the other way. So I see it as, this can't be a 9, because if this is a 9, it makes these two add to 15. And so this becomes a 7-8 pair with that. And that 7-8 pair looks at this and makes this a 9. That's how I saw it.
Because now I've proved this is not 8. And if this is not 8, it seems to only have one valid option, which is 9. Now I know this has the same parity, so that removes even digits from here. And what have we got then? If this was... Well, hang on. That's now 7. There's all sorts going on now. That's become an 8. That's become a 9 by Sudoku. This being an 8... Oh, it's beautiful. This being an 8 means that is a 7 because it can't repeat in red. So that being a 7 means I've now got 14 here. So these have to add to 14, which makes this a 5. So now I can get rid of 5s and 7s along here. I've now got a 2 here by mathematics because 7 plus 2 equals 9 at the bottom. I've got a 7-8 pair in red, so that's a 9 in the corner. So those are not 9. This is what I was looking at before, isn't it? So,
yeah, this is the thing you tried to prove doesn't work before.
Well, hang on. So now I've got 25 here because I've got double 9 plus 7. That's 25 for those 4 cells without using a 9. That's forced to be 8, 7, 6, and 4. That's the only way of doing that. So there is no 5 involved in that sum. So this is 6, 7, 8. This is 4. This is now not 6, 7, and 8. This is 5 and 9. And we know that the 5 is the red digit because the 9 cannot be because we've already got a red 9. So this is 5, 9. Those are not 9. This square over here is now a 9 by Sudoku. So that must mean, he says, oh, okay, I'm starting to get the hang of it. No, I'm not. I'm just not. But I have spotted something quite cute, I think. What is the red digit in one of those 2 cells? Well, it's got to be a 6, I think, because of the logic we did earlier. We worked out that the middly digits were the red digits in these 3 boxes. Now, this can't be a 4 by Sudoku. It can't be a 5 because there's a red digit up there that's a 5. So it's got to be a 6, which means that square's an 8. So that's an 8. That's a 6. Which means one of these 2 cells is an 8 by Sudoku now.
I wonder which one is the doubled 6.
Now, does that
matter?
Yeah, that does matter.
I mean,
because now how...
As usual, Simon is all over the intended solve path. But then sort of occasionally, as a time traveler, gets confused and sees the later parts earlier, but has spent so much time looking at these Sudoku paths that he sees things and sort of senses, okay, the constructor wanted me to look at this, and sometimes just thinks about it and sees it too early, and then gets distracted.
How can that be red? If that's red, if that's the red digit, we know it's a 6, which gets doubled to 12. 12 plus 8 is 20, and I can't make 2 digits add up to 20. So that's green. This is red and counts for 12, but on the line now, which means that this digit has to be, because these 2 are effectively 4 apart, this digit has to be 4 less than this digit. Whoa, and I can't use 1s, 2s, and 3s. I can't use 4 and 8 because that would repeat the 8. So I've got to use 5 and 9. I think that's the only way that can possibly work. So that's 5, that's 9. And let's double check. So we've now got 12 plus 5, which is 17. And we've got 8 plus 9, which is 17. Now, oh, hang on. Now it looks interesting in the middle box because I've got the alarming prospect of putting 9 on zetamath's logo and interfering with his cape. So let's just work out whether that's possible. If that's a 9, the minimum value for this is 24. Because we've got 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is 24, which would require this to be an 8. And of course it can be. Bobbins, bobbins, bobbins. All right, what are those digits then? They are 4, 7, and 8. 4, 7, and 8 by Sudoku. So there's a 7 in one of those two cells, which is on the line up here.
Triple bobbins.
Oh, in fact, look, we almost know what these digits are. They're 1, 2, 3, and 7 by Sudoku, and those can't be 7. So
I will take that as a moment of pride.
Okay, so what does that mean? If this was a 9, it's not doubled. So we'd have 17 here. Minus 6, we'd need 11, which would be 731. That would work nicely, actually. 731, so this would be a 2. So
I am told a triple bobbins on doubler counts as 6 bobbins. Yes, Bremster.
The other possibility is this is a 5, in which case it gets doubled. So this is 18, minus 6 is 12.
I think the most insulting part of this whole puzzle to the solver is that you work out all of this stuff about this doubler, and then you learn that this cell either counts for 9 or 10, and they're 1 apart, regardless of what it is, so it is no help.
So these would add up to 12, they'd have to be 7, 2, 3, and this would be a 1. Right, so this is not a 3, is what we get from this. But unfortunately, we don't learn the order of these. But if that's a 6, it's doubled. So those are not permitted to be doubled anymore. So one of these is now doubled, and we know that it's doubling a small digit this time. So how could that be a doubled small digit? Is that possible? If that was, say, a 3 doubled, that would be 6. So these would have to be... No, that's fine, isn't it, actually? 1, 5, or 2, 4.
Andrew.
Bother. Oh, I tell you something I've just noticed. Because I've got 6 here, because I can't have 4, the double digit in here is a 4. So now I know this is now a 4, 7, 8, 9 triple, which means those squares are a 5, 6 pair.
There
that's
we
not
go.
a 2. So down here I've got 1s, 3s, and 4s to place into these cells. Oh, I see what you've done here, you zetamath. I know what you're up to. Right, now this looks troubling to me, because now I'm very much questioning. I don't think that can be a 9 anymore. Because when we did the maths on this, I assumed that could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quintuple, which it definitely can't be if that cell has to be a 1, 3, or a 4. There's no way this can be a 1. If this is a...
I feel like in the thumbnail, I'm presented as the hero of this story, but I feel the way he speaks to me in this video, I'm like the supervillain behind the story.
1, the minimum value of these squares is 27. And I know that because all I did was take the triangular number for 7, which is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7, which I know is 28, and I deducted 1 from it to get 27. Now 27, even with doubling this digit, means that digit's got to be an 11. That doesn't work. I have strong suspicions this can't be a 3 either. In fact, 4, I'm now worried I might have even just broken the puzzle. If this is a 3, then we know that the minimum value for these is now 25, just deducting 3 from the triangular number for 7. 25 requires this to be a 9, which it can't be, so that doesn't work. Double 8 is 16. We'd need a 9 here. That doesn't work. So this is a 4, and hopefully the maths will work on this, or I have made a boo-boo, which I wouldn't be surprised about. So let me think about this. So if this is 4, well, it is 4, I think. So we've now got a minimum here of 24, and that's, yeah, that works. That works. Because this has to be a minimum of 24, i.e. just deducting 4 from 28, which means this needs to be at least 8, and it can't be 9, so it must be 8, and this must be, it can't have a 9 on it, that's what we learned. So this is the 9, and these are the other digits. i.e. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7, which I refuse to pencil mark. I'm sorry. So that cell has become a 6, I'm now seeing. Now, those are not 9 by Sudoku, so these are 4, 7, or 8. I'd love to know which one of these is the doubling digit. There was probably a way I'm meant to know that, but I don't know. This is the strange thing about this. It just doesn't look appetizing. What's that digit? Maybe that's the point. I see that digit can't be a very high digit. So that's a maximum of 6. If that's... What are these digits adding up to? It depends whether one of them's doubled or not. Oh, I see. Right, okay. This digit is under pressure because what... Yes, okay, we have to look at the sum of these two cells because it's strange. By which I mean, if one of these is a 4, it gets doubled, so that counts as 8, to which we're adding at least 7, which means that the circles here have to add up to at least 15, and neither of them could be doubled. Well, no, that could be doubled if it was a 4, but then that would still add up to 7 and 8, because there would be no 4 on the line, and therefore this would be a 7-8 pair adding up to 15. So these are always adding up to 15, but that doesn't mean this can't be the... doesn't mean it can't be the doubled. But it does mean that digit has to be at least equal. It has to be 6, doesn't it? It can't be 5. If it's 4, I need this to be at least 11, and even with a doubling digit, even with a doubled 4, it doesn't work. Right, so that's 6. Therefore, that's 6, that's 5, that's 5, that's 9. This is it. This is it, because now I get the 9 here by Sudoku.
Yeah, I think he's the first person I've seen notice this line part before resolving the stuff down here.
This is not doubled because this is doubled. So this is 5 doubled 18. We need these to add up to 12 so they don't include a 1. So this is a 1, which means there's a 1 in one of those two cells. These adding up to 15. And we still don't know whether this is doubled or not. It could be double 4 with 7, or it just could be 7, 8 with the 4 moving here. That's quite extraordinary. I've got a terrible feeling I'm doing this puzzle all wrong. I really have. This feels very hard to me. Very hard. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's supremely clever, but I wouldn't expect anything else from zetamath. But it does amuse me that people say, oh, 4 stars out of 5 for difficulty. This feels harder than a lot of puzzles I've done recently that have been rated 5 stars out of 5.
I think the reason he's finding this more difficult is because this is the second doubler puzzle I think he's doing. I think if you do a number of doubler puzzles, I think you get used to the things you're supposed to do, and it becomes a little more, it becomes a little gentler. I do still think this is the hardest of my doubler puzzles, at least. Unless you count the fact that in vignettes, I had a step that was much harder than it was intended to be because I made a mistake.
I want this to be a 9. No, it's clearly not a 9. Oh, I see, I can get a 9 here. Okay, that was an easier way of working out where 9s were. So, okay, well, this is good. I've got a 9 here now. What's that doing? There must be a way I'm meant to understand this. Ah, here's a point. Oh, this is very pretty. This is a very pretty point. Okay, one of these digits is doubled, which means because it's in one of these boxes, it's a 1, 2, or a 3. So that means that there is a virtual 1, 2, 3 triple in row 6, and that means this digit is under pressure. It can't be 1, 2, or 3, or 6, 7, 8, or 9, so it's 4 or 5.
Find someone
So
who loves
if
you as
this
much as
was
zetamath
doubled
loves
now,
virtual triples.
surely the puzzle, the world is broken, yeah. If this is a double digit, even if it's a double 3, because that completes a 1, 2, 3 triple, this is at least a 4. 4 plus 5 is more than double 3, so this is not doubled. So that's green. This gets doubled, and we know it's a 1, 2, or a 3 getting doubled. So if this was 3 getting doubled, this would need to be a 10. So it's not 3 getting doubled. This is now 1 or 2 getting doubled. So if this is 2 getting doubled, this could be an 8. Okay, that feels quite likely actually to me, for no other reason than it seems to work. If this is 1 doubled, this could be a 6 or a 7. Oh, okay. Maybe I'm being premature about that then.
Yeah, thank you, all of you new
Okay.
viewers, by the way. Exciting to see a bunch of people here.
I'm less confident now that this is going to be an 8. But this is doubled now. Although it's not really, it's not very punchy in terms of its doubliness, is it? But okay, but that places, I see it places the double digit in this box. That's now the only place a double digit can go, because we can't can't have 2 doublers in a column. So that's a 1, 2, or 3. So these are 2 very small numbers being doubled. That's very pretty. This is a 3. See if you can see why. This is a 3 being doubled.
I was very proud of this step.
If you managed to do it, congratulations. But if this is a 1 or a 2 being doubled, then those 2 squares, they're a 1 plus 2 doubled, which is 6. But there's no way of making these add up to 6, because you can't use a 1 or a 2 in them, because however these 1s and 2s are disposed, they see both of those cells. So this just can't add up to 6, because it can't be 1, 5 or 2, 4. So that has to be a 3. Which means these are not doubled. So there's a double in one of these. Still isn't telling me what's going on up there. But now, what's going on? So now, these 2 digits, if this was a 1...
More crabs, that's the right question to ask.
Without using 1 or 3. So this would be 2, 6. So that would be one way round. It would have to be like that. If this is 1 on the other hand, if this is 2 on the other hand, it gets doubled. These add up to 10. And these would have to be 4, 6, because they couldn't be 3, 7, 2, 8, or 1, 9. So this is always 6. But this is 2 or 4. This is definitely even. So 6 is now in one of those 2 cells by Sudoku.
That 2 is very, very stealthy, hiding down there at the bottom, telling you that these can't be 2. It's very easy to miss.
What does that mean? Okay, let's check this box out. 1, 2, 3, and 5. So those are not 1. No, I can't. Well, I suppose the 5 in this column is down here, so those aren't 5. Wow, that's not 3, I'm just seeing. So I've got this digit down to quite dramatically, haven't I?
I know, it's got some given digit sort of camouflage on it.
I am not sure. Maybe it's... I don't know what to do. Okay, let's check this row, because I've got this 1, 2, 3 triple I've not really thought about yet. So 4s, 5s, yeah, okay, these squares can't be 4 or 8, so these have to be 5s, 6s, and 7s. And there's definitely a 5 in one of those 2 squares, because 5 doesn't seem to be able to... Oh, no, that's not true.
He's going to face palm when he
this
gets
could
it.
Be a 5. Okay, so I actually don't know anything about these digits then. No, Okay. Oh, hang on. That digit's got to be a 2 or a 6, doesn't it? I forgot this one. This is the even digit, and it's not 4 or 8 now. It still doesn't seem to help me.
Ranks Kira is just upset about the fact that row 2, column 6 hasn't been greened yet.
Is new? No, it's not. It's just not, Simon. Don't think about that. What about 3 then? No. 6. One of these 2 cells. 8.
That's true, Jay. The 2-4 definitely sees the doubler 2.
This digit? Is this somehow restricted? I might be. Not in any way that that's immediately occurring to me. Oh,
I wish I could say that the even was related to a galaxy brain break-in.
Double 3 here, so that's counting for 6, but then we've got 9 on the line. But this could be doubled. Oh, God. So, if this is... Well, what are its options? Its options in theory are 1, 2, 4, or 5. So if that's 5, that's 14, isn't it? And this would have to be 8. And it can't be 8 even if it's a doubled number, so that's definitely
I should have
5.
disambiguated by making
4,
this a given 2. That's what I
13,
should have done, but I didn't think of it until much
7,
later.
And that's impossible as well. Right, so this is 1 or 2. Okay, right, okay, that's huge. That's a 1-2 pair in this row, making this 5, apparently. Which means that... Well, it means there is a 5 in one of those 2 cells now. There's a 7 in one... there's a 7 in one of these.
So the story went like this in my brain. I originally wanted to disambiguate it with a given, but then I thought, oh no, if I give it as a given, then I have to say something in the rules explaining whether I'm telling the person that's solving it whether it's doubled or not, and that seems kludgy. So let me try and figure out a different way to do it. And the thing I actually came up with was this even square, which also requires a line in the rules, but it's actually sort of 2 lines in the rules, because you have to specifically say, look, it's not even just because it's a doubler. And so I ended up not doing the thing that was a little bit kludgy, and then I just ruled it out, and in my head I didn't go back and think about it, and think, hey, is using a given less kludgy than this thing, which is far kludgier? So I should have just made it a given, and it would not have, I think, affected anything really. But I sort of, that was the first thing I thought of, and then I was like, oh, but that's a little messy. Let me come up with something else.
Cells, which means that cell's become an 8, that cell's become a 7. There's an 8 in one of these 2 cells. And the other digit we've not put in this row is 4, I think. Oh, is that right? That's quite important if so. Because that seems to mean this cell's got to be a 4, which is going to give me this digit.
Yeah, he saw the virtual triple in row...
Why is that the case?
Row 6, but is not seeing the virtual triple in row 7.
Yeah, okay, no, it's simple, isn't it? Once this gets restricted, we can just do Sudoku using this 4. Okay, so that's not so strange after all. So this becomes a 4. Now, this is adding up to 10, so that's got to be a 2. Now we know that this is counting for 4 on this thing, so this can't be 5, or that would need a 9 here. So this is now a 4. Which means that this needs to be
yes,
8.
This is definitely the intended amount of
Sudoku. There's an 8 up here. This square's now a 7 by Sudoku, which means that's a 4 and that's an 8.
Smarkus, this is a sort of sequel to the one I did with Tallcat, which is a sort of sequel to vignettes.
That means that square's become a 2.
Ranks very generously did the other day.
Which means this square's become a 2.
May have regrets about.
And do I know much more about what's going on here? We know this is a 4-8 pair, don't we?
I wonder if he's even going to notice that he knew that it was
So
a
it's
1
going
up
to
here.
be about this digit, I think. I think that's the one I've not really focused on.
Yes!
And now at least I can, even with the possibility of it being a doubler, I ought to be able to restrict it a bit. So if this is 10, if this is a 1, that's got to account for 4. Oh, that doesn't work at all. I don't think that works. Let me just check this. If this is 10, that's counting 6. This has to count 4. Now, it could be a double 2, except there's a 2 here, so that doesn't work. Or it could be a 4, which also doesn't work. I think, therefore,
Could
that's
be a double
2.
2, huh?
So this is 11. This has to count for 5, which can't
totally
be a doubler,
tease, but I'm
therefore,
absolutely
because
aware I
5
miss
is
this kind of
odd.
thing all the
So
time.
That is
That's half
5,
the fun.
I think. Which, of course, then is not a doubler, which means that this is a doubler. And now if that's a doubler, that is not a doubler, is I think the corollary of that. Let me just tidy all this up. So that's not a doubler, that's not a doubler, so this becomes a doubler. So that counts, that is now a 4 in that box, doubled, which does my 4 and 8 at the bottom, which means this square is a 7, this square is an 8.
I love that
These
this
both
lone
get
doubler is not
greenified as a
filled in.
result. This 2 gives me a 1 here, whoops, by Sudoku. So this square's got to be 1 or 3. Oh, and it's doubled, so it's actually a 1. Which means this is a 1, this is a 3, this is a 3, this is a 1, this is a 2, this is a 3. This is a 5, this is it, we've done it, I think. This is a 6. This is a something, a 3. How's this all working at the top? I can't quite see at the moment. I need to put 1 into this box. I need to put 7 into this box. So those squares are now a 6, 7 pair, and we've got a 6 here. So 6 and 7 go in. These are 1, 3, and 5 in some order. These squares at the bottom are 1, 5, and 7 in some order. So the 7's got to go here. That's got to be a 3, because it can't be a 1 or a 5, apparently. And therefore, that square's got to be... How's this working? Can't quite see how to do the top of the grid. Oh, that's a 7. That's probably how we do it. 2, 3, 3, 2, 7.
Yes, Sven helps me more than Simon. I don't know why.
Oh, that's an 8 by Sudoku. These seem to have to be a 1, 2 pair, which is also filled in, which gives me a 1, 5 at the bottom, a 5 here, a 3 here, a 1 here, and hopefully a 4 there. Now, I'm just going to take a moment, if you don't mind. Have I got a different digit in every doubler cell? Yes. Have I got 1 doubler per row and column? Yes. Yes, I did it. That was very, very... Well, it's a brilliant puzzle. I mean, it's just a quite brilliant puzzle. The intricacy going on around...
I'm so amazed at him figuring out that this whole puzzle was about the 7, 8, 9 triple, the 4, 5, 6 triple, and the 1, 2, 3 triple before he'd even figured out the other piece. Like, he just saw that so fast.
Around this, well, this little square thing here, and the way that this line around the outside interacts with it is quite beautiful. But it's seriously, well... I just didn't have the right thought, to be honest, around... What was it? It was the possibility of these being double 8. Well, no, hang on. Initially, it was quite difficult to prove that this had to add up to 16. There may have been a quick way of doing that. But even once I knew that, proving that this had to not be 8...
Congrats, Brentster.
Some insight which was not quick in coming, and it all revolved around sort of the implicate this triple here and how this little tiny line worked. Yeah, it's really, and not repeating digits in these 3 red squares. We got the 3 red squares as being this triple double thing quite quickly, but how you actually had to use it was really interesting and intricate. And then I even knew this was 4, 5, 6 and this was 1, 2, 3 in some order fairly quickly. And it definitely helped to know these things because it gave me this 6 here, which did something up there. And it also gave me this 4, 7, 8, 9 quadruple there, which helped me in this column. I mean, the way it all sort of bounces back and forward and balances in the end, it's just lovely. It really is. But that was a thorough workout. Zetamath, thank you for giving me a thorough workout. And thank you, obviously, if you're still with me and still watching. I'm sorry if I've annoyed you and I've missed some clever way of breaking that puzzle open. I will watch the comments with interest, but I do enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. So be kind to me tonight if I have been a bit slow. It might be I haven't. It might be that it just is a hard puzzle. But it definitely, if I was rating that one, I would have given that 5 stars out of 5 because it was a real mental exercise for me, at least. Loved it, though. Thanks to Zetamath. Take another bow, my friend, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.
Yeah, 4 out of 5 puzzles on LMD. That's, you never quite know what you're going to get. I mean, I think the Qodec puzzle, this puzzle that we did at the start of the stream, this was a 4 out of 5 puzzle on LMD, I'm pretty sure. And this was certainly one of the most brain-burning puzzles that I've done. Oh, it's 5 out. Tristan says it's 5 out of 5. Okay, I would definitely rate this puzzle 5 out of 5, if nothing else, for the than for the amount of workout that Qodec gave me. We'll start using that Simonism. Alrighty, I'm going to pause real quick and pull up a puzzle, but we're going to do a puzzle by Woofer and Jakhob. So welcome to those of you who are joining us if you usually don't. We'll be right back in just a bit with a puzzle. See you in a second. And here we go. I told you it wouldn't be long this time. Let's see. The grid looks good. I can turn on row and column labels. Wherever they are, there they are. Alrighty, so, yeah, I was expecting from the rule set that this is going to be completely terrifying, but it seems from the readings like it's not too bad, or from whatever, but anyway, we'll see this. Okay, so we have normal Sudoku rules, and we have secret lockout lines. So each pair of diamonds with the same letter need to be connected by a lockout line. So the A needs to connect to the A, the B needs to connect to the B, and so on. Let's see, maybe I should color them. B needs to connect to B somehow, C needs to connect to C somehow, D needs to connect to D somehow, and E needs to connect to E somehow. There we go. See, lines can only move orthogonally and cannot branch, so usual, we need to just connect them with a line. And lines cannot cross themselves, other lines, or other diamonds. And we need to draw these in. Do you have a suggested bet cell, Woofer? I see that Woofer's here. I don't know if Jakhob is here. I forget. Jakhob has a screen name that's not Jakhob, and I don't remember what it is. Jakhob might be talking in chat right now, and I just always forget what the mapping is between them. Original Elijah, thank you. Okay, is Jakhob. Let's see. Oh, betting tree, oh, betting tree. I'm going to randomly guess there. Row 8, column 6. Okay, that is the betting tree. Da ba ba da ba da ba da. Okay. So we need to connect these things with some lines. And so based on the rules, for example, and I like that we can draw these in, I'm going to go with this gray, I think, for lines. What's up, Tristan?
You're going to be right back.
Oh, 1 second. I need to be right back. Everyone beat you to typing that you're you? Oops, I did not mean to put an X there. Yes, Zach had to make a quick phone call. By the way, I'll note we have not even gone over the rules of lockout lines yet, but we're drawing things. So this line needs to come out here by the rules, and this orange needs to come out here by the rules. So what are the actual rules of a lockout line? Let's talk about that. The digits on the ends of a lockout line have to be at least 4 apart. So because this is a 3, this has to be a 7, 8, or 9, and we're going to know which one pretty fast, especially given that that's a 7. And then the digits on a lockout line can't be between the 2 diamonds or repeat the diamonds. I wasn't sure about coloring the lines. I worried it might be a problem. Okay. Now, here's the thing. This can't be a 9, because if this is a 9, how many digits can I put on this line in this box? And the answer is I could only put 1 and 2. Well, I'm not getting out of this box in that time. So this has to be an 8. And we get a nice early 8 dance from Zach, who is excited after his phone call. Ba-doop, 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 boop, 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 ba-doop, ba-da, ba-da. The 8 became a 0 in Zach's excitement. I see. Okay, because I like color, I'm going to go with the suggestion to maybe make this line yellow and see if that leads to excitement or horror, one of those. So now I know these digits have to be from 1 to 9. Yeah, Zach sometimes hits the microphone. It is a thing that sometimes happens. We have seen a 0 dance a couple of times. And we've also seen a dance for cells that were empty a couple times. Let's see, we can orange this line just to continue with the theme. I feel like we're going through Tootsie Roll flavors now. Let's see. All right, so that was all nice. So one of these is a 1, 2, or a 9. Should I know which one? Oh yeah, this can't go this way. If yellow goes this way, which way is it going to go? It's either going to go right, in which case that puts a 4th 1, 2, 9 in the row, or it's going to go down, in which case it puts a 4th 1, 2, 9 in the box. Neither works. So yellow cannot go right. I'd put too many 1, 2, 9s in places. So yellow has to go down. And then once yellow goes down, it has to go down again, because, again, if I didn't, then I would put 4 1, 2, 9s in the box, because everything on the yellow line is a 1, 2, or a 9. Yellow definitely now can't go down, because that would put 4 1, 2, 9s in the column. If yellow goes left, then yellow is also taking a 6. It's cutting off purple. There's a million different problems with yellow going left. So yellow can go neither left nor down, so yellow has to go right. I was about to try to put in the purple, but it didn't take. So the purple has to go at least that far. So the purple line is now a lockout line with a 6 on it, and there's only one lockout line combo that's allowed to have a 6 on it, and that's 1, 5. because I need to not surround 6. And so that means both of these endpoints need to be bigger than 6 or less than 6. But if they were both bigger than 6, they wouldn't be 4 apart. So they have to be less, and in order to be 4 apart, we know that. And as pointed out, we know which is 5 because we have a 1, 2, 9 triple. I was getting there. So this digit is also a 7, 8, 9, and it's not an 8 for the record. So we now know purple has to get out of this column because purple only has one more digit it can take in this column. So purple's not going straight down. That's not going to work. I do know that these are 1, 2, 9. Yellow, interestingly, it's certainly not going up. Yellow's either going to go right or it's going to go down. No matter which one it does, it makes this digit not a 9, because this direction makes a triple in the row, and this direction makes a triple in the box. This is lovely. This has been a very... chat always does this for me, because the supporters of the channel vote on which puzzles I do each stream, and this is the most voted on puzzle. But this is just an excellent puzzle. Let's see at the end. So there's now a 6 in this box somewhere. Yeah, so now the only digit that can go on purple in this box is a 9 or an 8. If purple goes this way, that's an 8. If purple goes this way, that's a 9. So if purple goes this way, it puts a 9 in the box. If purple goes this way, this is an 8, but purple still has to get out of the box, and it's going to take one of those two and be a 9, and it's not going to be that one. So no matter how purple escapes, purple's always dropping a 9 in this box. So these aren't 9, they're 1 and 2, and yellow can't stay in this box, because then yellow would put a 9 in the box, and yellow's not allowed to do that. So yellow has to escape this direction, which makes this digit a 9. Yellow can't go right, because that would be a 4th 1, 2, 9 in the row. Yellow can't go up, because then it would have to come down again because of gravity. And then it would pass through this row, and it can't. So yellow is forced to go down, making this digit a 1 or a 2. And once we get that, I know one of these is the other 1 or 2, and then 9 finishes directly. I don't know which way it's going to go, but it goes the other way. Okay, so that's cool. So... Okay, so I'm just sort of imagining the ways purple can go. So purple can go 9 and then 8. Or 8 and then 9, I guess. Is this always a 9? I think this is always a 9. Because no matter which path purple takes, if purple goes this way, then it has to go down, because it doesn't have any choices. Oh, it can't be 9. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, sorry. It can't be 9. Okay, so I am misunderstanding something. So if this comes here, that's an 8. And then it's just done, because there's nothing this could be, and there's nothing this could be. So it doesn't go right. Yeah, the 1 in this box would be a smart thing for me to say. So that's a 2 and a 1. Thank you, Mehdi. But I think the point is, if purple comes here, it doesn't work. So that's a 2. Yeah, if purple comes here, this can only be an 8. But then I don't have any places I can put a 9. So purple has to go down, which does make this a 9. But now purple can't go down again, because if purple went down again, then that would be too many. too many 6, 7, 8, 9s in the column, so purple has to go there. The only thing this can be is an 8. Now every digit that can be on the purple line is already in box 4, and so purple has to come down. Purple can't go back that way because there's nothing for it to take there. So purple actually continues 6, 7 here. Those are the only things it can be because the 8 and the 9 in the column are gone. It's possible, I guess, that purple comes over here like this. But regardless, the only way that purple can possibly enter purple is from here. I guess I could have just gone backwards. Purple from here has to go here. And I mean, doing that sort of dance seems unlikely because it would be a uniqueness problem. Because if purple was allowed to do this, then the puzzle wouldn't have a unique solution. So we actually know it goes down, but we can't say we know it goes down yet. We have to pretend we don't. But this is automatically a 6 or a 7. So that's a 6, 7 pair in the column. So let's fill in our pairs for the column. So these are a 3 and a 4. These are a... Oh, sorry, this is a triple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, these are 3, 4, 5, but this is a 5 because there's a 3, 4 pair in the box already. So this is not a 5, and that's not a 5. So these cells are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's not a 7, that's not a 6. So this is a 3, 4 going to a 3, 4, 6. Well, there's no way there's a 6 on this lockout line. Because if there is a 6 on this lockout line, we've already established the only things that can go in the diamonds are 1 and 5, and this can be neither. So this is not a 6. But now this is a 3, 4 pair, which makes that a 7 and a 6. But also has the other effect that if this is a 3, we're just immediately screwed. Because if this is a 3, the other diamond is big, and then 4 is between 3 and that diamond. So actually this goes 4 and 3. And the other side, the other diamond here, has to be an 8 or a 9. And in particular, because the other diamond has to be an 8 or a 9, this orange line can't possibly go through the 7. Because every digit on this has to be 1, 2, 3, 8, or 9. So this digit is not, could be 1 or 2. It's not 3, 8, or 9. So this is a 1, 2 pair in the column. Oh, right, I can. I do. Somehow in my brain, I was forgetting that I actually know what the other diamond is. I was thinking I was going to have to find it somehow, but completely correct. The other diamond has to be 8 or 9. It's probably not going to be 9. It seems very unlikely to me. So if this went down, that would be an 8. And then we'd be done. Because if this... Oh, no, it could go 1, 2... Okay, so we could go 1, 2, 8, 3, or 3, 8, actually. Maybe there's actually some flexibility. Oh, do you prefer all of wooferzfg, or do you prefer just woofer? I believe I had previously been told that woofer was the preference, but I trust your statement of what your preference is better. Oh, right, there's never an 8 on it. What am I talking about? Yeah, there's never an 8 on it, because if this is an 8, you can't put an 8 on it, and if there's a 9 on it, or if this is a 9, there can't be a 9 on it. Right, okay. So there is never an 8 or a 9 on this thing. So the only digits that can go on it are 1, 2, 3, and 9. So if this goes down, I run out of digits real fast, because if this goes down, I only have 1, 2, 3, and 9, and I've used my last one. I've used the 3, and then I can't go there, and I can't go there. So orange can't go down. Orange has to go right. So this digit is a 1, 2, or 9. But orange has to keep going to the right. Orange can't take a 6. 6 is automatically between 4 and 8 or 4 and 9. But now that means this digit is from 1, 2, 9. And now we need the 9. Because this digit is a 6. And 6 is between 4 and 8. And so now I've used a 9 on this line. So this has to be an 8, because otherwise I can't use a 9. So now orange can't go down, because that would be a 1, 2, 9 quad in the box. No, that's not true. Sorry, this could be a 3. Never mind. But we know how yellow finishes now, because yellow can't go here anymore. So yellow now has to go right, because yellow can only be 1, 2, or 9. It would have to be 1, 2, but that would be a 1, 2 triple in the column. So now this is a 1 or a 2, and now yellow has to finish. And so we get a line completion dance. Great point from chat. If orange keeps going right, the world ends, because orange doesn't have any digits left in row 1. So orange has to go down. Now orange takes the value 3 here, because it's the only digit left. But now orange has to get out of this box ASAP, because otherwise we don't have any digits left. And so this digit is a 1 or a 9. Funnily enough, it finishes the 1-9 pair for the row. So orange can't go right, because there's nothing left for it to take. It certainly can't go up, so orange now has to go down. Making this a 1, 2, 3, or 9. So suddenly there's a million options. Okay. So this pair is a 4, 5. This triple is a 2, 8, 9. That one's not the 8. So interestingly, this orange has to get to this 8, and there's not a 9 available. So there's only 3 values that orange can take in this box. And so orange needs to take 3 cells in this box. Well, they have to be these 3, because if they aren't these 3, then we're not getting out of the box. So orange actually has to do that. And so once orange has done that, orange certainly can't go up here. And so orange connects. Wait, why does orange need to take the 9? Orange can take the 9? Oh! Right, sorry. Orange can take 4 digits in this box as long as one of the ones it takes is the 9. And as being pointed out by chat, who has wisely caught me, neither of these cells can be orange because there is no 1, 2, 3, 9 available. So this cell has to be orange. And so, sorry, the orange line has to go through here. And then that has to connect to the 8. So that has to look like that, actually. And so these are a 1, 2, 3 triple. And so that's the 3. These are a 1, 2 pair. Orange now certainly has to connect straight across because we can only put 4 digits in this box on here. So these are from 1, 2, 3. Sorry, it's from 1, 2, 3, 9. That's not 3 or 9. And so these digits up here, these are not 1, 2, 3, 9, or 7. So they are 4, 5, 6, and 8. These are not 4 or 8, though. So that's a 5, 6 pair. So this digit is just a 4. That digit's just a 5. No. That digit's just an 8. Take 2. So we've got this row now. So let's do this box first, then we'll do the row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's just a 5. These aren't 5. Now, this row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not a 6, not a 4 or an 8. Sorry, not a 4 or an 8. I typed the wrong digits. Not a 4 or 8. This is a 5 or a 6, which gives us a 5, 6 pair in the column, continuing the theme of the puzzle. These digits are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are 4 or 8. Or sorry, not 4 or 8. This is 5 or 7. And so maybe that didn't quite get us there. I guess we should start drawing in green. Green has to go down like this. Oh, there's a 5, 6 pair. Good point. That is a 7. There's a 5, 6 pair in the column. I said that a second ago, and then I completely forgot already. So these are not 7. So that means that this is a 4, 5, 6, or 8, but it's not an 8. So this is a 4, 5, or a 6. So that's a 4, 5, 6, 8 quad. So these digits are not 4, 5, 6, or 8. These are the other ones. So these are 1, 2, 3, 7, and 9. This one I'm being told is not a 1. These digits, I can pencil mark, are 4, 5, 6. They're only 4, 5, 6, which is interesting. This one's not a 5. This one's also not a 5, because you can never put a 5 on a lockout line. So that's not a 5. You can't put a 5 on a lockout line because there aren't two digits 4 apart that don't surround 5. So in fact, there's a 5 in the lockout line. And so this digit's always a 1 or a 9, because those are the only digits that are enough digits apart from 5 or 6. And now I don't know if this is a 1 or a 9, but I do know green can't take this cell, because then it would have both 4 and 6, and 4 and 6 are on opposite sides of 5. So green has to come there in order that life continue. Alrighty. So I probably now have to fill in some more candidates. Let's fill in this row, I think, because those only have 4 candidates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so this is not a 5. So this is a 4, 5, 6, or 7, but it has to be 4 away from that digit. Okay, so this is either 1, 2, 3, 7, or 9. Okay. That could be a 1. If not, one of these is a 1. Let's see, if this were a 4, that would have to be a 9. If this were a 5, this would have to be a 1 or a 9. If this were a 7, that would have to be a 3. Garian's point is I can't go straight across here with green. I don't know if it's relevant at the moment, but green can't do that. Because if green tries to do that, then it takes 4 cells in this row, whereas there's only... whereas either if green is allowed high digits, the 6 or 7 is gone from the row. And if green is allowed to take low digits, the 1 is gone from the row. Thank you, Panthera. It's a fun solve. I enjoyed it. So what are these digits? There's an annoying number of them, but it's not that many. So they could be 1, 2, 3. They're not 4, 5, 6, or 7, or 8, and they could be 9. This one's not 1, though, I know. So yeah, so this is only 2, 3, or 9. Oh, Garion, I see Garion's. Okay, so Garion's point, I did not understand, because Garion was taking for granted something I had not observed, which is that green is going to take 4 cells to get here no matter what. And so green will either take 4 cells going that way or take 4 cells going that way. We argued it can't take 4 cells going that way, so green has to take 4 cells going this way. But now if green is going to take 4 cells going this way, we just have to ask ourselves which 4 cells these could be, because these either have to be 6, 7, 8, 9, or they have to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, they can't be 6, 7, 8, 9, because there's an 8 in the box. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, which makes that a 9. Oh, it can drop down earlier, right? Sorry, never mind. Right. So no, but it's the argument's still true. I just don't know what the path is, because it could do that, but it's still taking 4 cells from this box, and none of them are 8. So this is still 9. And these are taking 1, 2, 3, 4, so I actually know this is not 1, 2, or 3. And once that's a 7 or a 9, this is at most a 5, so this is a 4 or a 5. This is still a 4. That's a 6. That's not a 9. It's a 2 or a 3. This 1, 2, 3 has to be on the path. Because I need to go through all of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the second this is a 1, 2, 3, it's of necessity on the path. And now it has to go there, and now it has to go there. So that's not a 7. This is a 1, 2, 3 triple. That's not a 2 or a 3. That's a 7, 9 pair. That is a 1. So that's a 2. These are a 3, 9 pair. That's not a 1. So that is a 1. That's not a 9. It could not go through the tree, because then it would need to take either 1, 2, 3, 4 in the row, or 6, 7, 8, 9 in the row, and both a 6, 7, and a 1 were gone in the row, so neither of those were possible. That was a very quick observation from Garion, to answer Eric's question. This seems to be a 3 and a 2. So that makes that a 9 and a 3. So we have a 4, 5, 6 triple in this row, so that makes that a 7. This seems to be a 1 and a 9. This seems to be an 8. Seems to be not an 8. 7 isn't 4 away from either of these digits. So 7 not being 4 away from either of these digits means that this has to be a 9, or a doubler, as Garion says. So that is a 9 and a 2 and a 9 and a 6 and a 7. So we knew how this purple went by uniqueness, but as chat points out, now it's confirmed, because now purple can't take this 2, so purple has to go down and finish like that. So we did not have to use uniqueness as part of our solution to the puzzle. Always appreciated. It's not a 7. These digits are a 3, a 4, and something else. 3, a 4, and a 7. So the 7 goes there. This is a 3 or a 4. These 4 digits are a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is not a 3 or a 6. That's not a 3. That's not a 7, which makes that a 7, placing our last 7 in the grid. Kathunk. This being a 9 actually tells me that the digits that this thing is taking are all going to be from 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is interesting as we think about what path this is going to take to its final destination. Which sounds maybe a little bit ominous. I probably have to fill the betting tree triple. I don't want to, but I probably have to. Let's see. Well, by uniqueness, this can't be a 5 or a 6. Oh, there's a 4-5 pair in this row. That's very helpful. So that's a 6 and a 5. Okay, that's going to do it. Thank you to Tristan. 6 and 5. These aren't 5. That's not 6. That's a 4-8 pair, which makes that a 6. This is not 5, making that a 4-8. So now blue can't go up. So blue has to go left, officially. This is not a 6. Let's see. We've got our 4-5-8 triple. We've got a 4-8 pair here looking down. That'll do it. The 4-8 pair here looking down makes that a 1 and that a 4, which makes that a 5. I was all excited that the 4 was going to tell me that this had to be a 5 by lockout logic, but the 4 tells me that's a 5 by nothing. 2, 1, 4, 8, 4, 8, 4. 2, 1. 3, 6, 3, 4. 5, 4. In case you were concerned that the blue line might want to take a more exotic life path, which I had hoped for, I think similar to the comment from Woofer earlier about hoping that the even cell and double would be some sort of big brain opening thing. I was hoping that this would turn out that it would have to go across the entire grid, but if this doesn't go up now, it can't connect because all the other lines block it off. So there's a little disambiguating thingy thing as well. So we've got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. And the bet cell is a 2. Congratulations if you bet 2, an appropriate bet cell for a day where double gets featured. Is that 2 2s? I think that's 2 2s on the day that double got featured. So that's like 5 2s or something like that, all in a row. Alrighty. To finish upstream, I'm going to go dig up a 6x6 that someone has posted in my Discord, where, by the way, if you're not on my Discord, it's on the Puzzle Plaza. There's a link in the description. It's free, so you're welcome to join there and hang out, and people share puzzles a lot. It's all good stuff. This puzzle was magnificent. I am absolutely delighted by this puzzle. Yes, I feel like it's especially impressive that this puzzle was relatively easy given the rule set. I think that was very cool. It was very well put together. I'll be right back after I dig up a 6x6 Renbon. Alrighty, so we're nearing the end of stream, but I can do a 6x6. So these are Renbon. So the digits on these Renbon need to form a string of consecutive digits, but in any order. I will, for the first time ever, remember to put a betting tree in a 6x6. I somehow never remember with 6x6s. Not that I'm super reliable, mind you, with the 9x9s, but I will remember it here. And the black dots mean the ratio is 2 to 1. So it could be 1, 2, could be 2, 4. Note it can't be 3, 6 for any of these, because if this were a 3, 6, 3 and 6 are too far apart. So actually all of these are 1, 2, 4. And in fact, they all must contain a 2 because of them being 1, 2, 4. And so because one of these is a 2, we get our first digit over here, which is a 2, because one of those is a 2, so that can't be a 2, so that has to be the 2. And we'll get to do the little 2 dance. Woohoo! Ha-ha! Wee-hee! Thank you, Zach. Extra fish tonight. So now that's a 2. To 2 up that. Okay, and so we can look at this. Okay, so if this were a 1, 2, it would go with a 3. Wait, it's always a 3, isn't it? If it's a 1, 2, it goes with a 3. If it's a 2, 4, it goes with a 3. So this is always a 3. And that's always a 3, and that's always a 3. And that's always a 3. And so that's a 3 by magic. And so once that's a 3... this Renbon sees 3, and so it can't have a 3 on it. So this has got to be a 4, 5, 6. That's the 5. These are a 4, 6 pair. So we've got that. These are, well, that's a 5 just by Sudoku. That's a 6 by also Sudoku. So that 6 looks up and fixes the 4 and the 6. Now this can only be 1, 2. By the way, this was resolved to be a 1 through magic. Thank you, Sven. The only digits left in the row are 1, 2, and 4 isn't consecutive with 1 or 2. So this is a 1, 2. That's a 4, which makes that a 1, which makes that a 2, and that a 4. These are a 4, 5. So this is a 3 or a 6, and it's not a 3, so it is a 6. These are a 4 and a 5 as well. These are a 1 and a 2, and I know the order. In fact, I should have probably known that better. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a 6. That's a 5, so that fixes the 4 and the 5. This digit is a 6, in fact, making that a 4 and a 5, and a 2 and a 4, and a 1 and a 2. That's a 1. That's a 6, and the bet cell is a 3. There is time for another one. There is. That when the puzzle takes 4 minutes, it turns out that yeah, I can do a second one. That was very fun. I'm gonna go see if there's a second one hanging around for me in the Discord. I'm sure there is, because people post a lot of. That probably is the shortest solve in my my career. It's possible I've done some Heiawake or something that are shorter than that, but there aren't many of them. Anyway, I'm going to go dig something up. I'll be right back. Okay. Next up, we're going to do this Topazium, also by Bellsita, by the way. Bellsita has been doing a lot of these things. I didn't do this one, right? I'm pretty sure I didn't do this one. By the way, if you do hang out in my Discord and you post random 6x6s, there's a good chance that I will do the random 6x6s that you post at the end of stream when I'm looking for things to sort of wrap up stream with, because this is proven to be a very worthwhile way to sort of wrap things up. I'm going to betting tree this cell. So these are region sum lines. If you'd like to, you probably will have better luck if you post it next time I'm close to wrapping up Cube, because I suspect that this is probably going to be the last one of today, unless this one's also 4 minutes. But this Topazium. But next time, by all means, or if you've posted it before then and people chat about it, I can just scroll back. Because to get this one, I just scrolled back. I mean, there are already tons of 6x6s posted, and lots of people in chat love doing them whenever they get posted, because it's very easy, even if you're, like, doing a job or something and see a 6x6 to go, oh, sure, I'll do that. This solve, I'm going to chat longer than it took me to do the last solve before I even explain the rules. This is an equal sum line. So this cell sums to the same as those two cells, sums to the same as those two cells. And these two cells sum to 5. Okay, so the first observation is that there's a mod 3 trick. which is to say that this number is a multiple of 3 in terms of its sum, because it's that thing times 3, quite literally. But the secret in a 6x6 is 21. And so this digit also has to be a multiple of 3, because I need to add a multiple of 3 to something and get a multiple of 3. And the only way that works is if this is a multiple of 3. So it can only be 3 or 6. But it can't be 6. By the way, the same thing's true up there for the same reason. It can't be 6, because then these would total 11, and I would need these two cells to total 11. But I can't do that without a 6. So this is actually a 3. That's right. We even did it with a digit dance. We were even able to... With a digit dance, we got it in 4 minutes last time. So that's pretty impressive. So these need to sum to 8. So these need to sum to 8 without being 3, 5. So they have to be 2, 6. So this is 1, 4. I suppose I knew this was 1, 4 even before that because it didn't have a 3 in it, but whatever. That's a 5. That's the point. Okay, so the sum of this line I should know. So it's 6 there because this total sum is 18. So 18 divided by 3 is 6. So these are 2 and 5. And I know that these are the two ways of making 6. So these digits are hey Liz, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. If this were a 4, that's not going to work because it would make the sum 9, and these would have to be 3, 6, which would break that cell. If this were a 1, that could be a 3, and that's fine. If this is a 3, the sum is 8. Oh, that doesn't work, because this single digit is the sum of these two cells, and 8 is not a valid digit. Although I do keep meaning to set more mean minis. If you've never seen mean minis before, they're one of my favorite puzzle types. I'd love if people started posting those more. It's a 6x6, but you have to determine the set of 6 digits. So there's some set of 6 digits that are used with regular 6x6 rules, but it's some subset of the digits 1 through 9, and that also has to be deduced. And I think that's very cool when that is the rule set. So that goes like that. These are a 2-4 pair. These aren't 1. Well, bitty bytes are usually just 4x4s. Mean minis are 6x6s, but with the set of digits to be determined. So my original puzzle hunt, if any of you, I know several of you have done the original puzzle hunt that I made a long, long time ago. That was a set of mean minis with other things going on. These digits only have a finite number of possibilities because they can't be 2, 4, 3, or 6. So I think that means that these are either 1 or 5. This digit needs to be at least 3, but can't be 6. Okay, let's see. These digits... Yeah, I guess I can figure out the parity of this cell. That's right. I'm going to figure out the parity of this cell, and it's going to tell me if this line is 1, 5, or 2, 4. Gorgeous. Okay. So this set of cells has an even sum. This set of cells has an odd sum. But the sum of 21 is odd, so this cell needs to be even. So it's a 2 or a 4. But it's part of a pair that adds to 6, so that's a 2 or a 4. That's a 1, 5. Gorgeous. Good spot, by the way, to Chameleon there. I'd seen earlier I could find the parity of this cell, but I didn't see how it was relevant. But that's a really beautiful way of using this. So let's ask ourselves, if this was a 2, these would need to sum to 8, right? Because that would be, right, the sum to 16. That doesn't work. If this is a 2, then these two sum to 5, so these need to sum to 16, so the individual sum is 8. There are 2 ways to make 8, but the 2 ways involve a 3. One of them is a 3, 5, so that actually does not work. So this can't be a 2. It's a 4 and a 2. What are the sums? The sums are 21 minus 7 is 14, so the sums are 7. So one of these is a 2, 5, and it's not this one. So it's a 2, 5, and a 1, 6. This one's 2, 5, 2, 5. This one's 1, 6. And now that tells me that this is a 1 and a 1. So that I see now why this line is here. This digit's now known to be a 4. That's a 5 and a 1. These two cells are a 3, which doesn't go there because this would be a 1, 2, and it can't be. And a 5. So these are a 2, 3, so they have to go in that order. Can't be a 1, 4 because there's a 1 in the box already. That's a 2 and a 5, and a 3 and a 4, and a 4 and a 2. These are a 4 and a 6. That's a 1 and a 4, and a 2 and a 6, and a 6, and a 1 and a 6, and a 5 and a 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a 3. There we go. Well, thank you everyone for hanging out with me today. It was quite a surprise to get a nice treat of watching a Simon solve with you all. I love it when Simon publishes a video on my stream days because then I get to watch it with all of you, and that adds to the fun. It was very cool. And I got to solve some awesome puzzles. We solved a very challenging Qodec sandwich puzzle that I absolutely adored. I hope it was clear, by the way, as much as my brain broke, and as much as I don't think I would have ever successfully solved this puzzle without you, I really enjoyed this puzzle. I got to watch Simon solve Double Double, and then I got to solve this delightful woofer puzzle, and then a couple little bitty ones by Isabella. Yeah, I should do Qodec 7x7s. I love little packs of little ones. Yeah, maybe I'm debating should I do all of Qodec 7x7s in one stream? Should I break them up and use them as little aperitifs at the end of things? I don't know. But yeah, today's stream was just a little bit of everything. It was delightful. Anyway, thank you to all of you who support me. I greatly appreciate it. If you'd like to support the stream and you've considered doing it but haven't quite yet, I really appreciate it. Zach really appreciates it. Tristan really appreciats it. There's a lot of different moving parts that keep all of this going, and I really want to keep doing it and appreciate it. So I greatly appreciate the support. All the green names in chat are people who've supported. If you want a green name in chat, for as little as $5 a month, you can get a green name in chat and a bunch of cute penguin emotes, and some less cute emotes of me facepalming. To do that, you just click the join button down below, and it'll give you all the details. If for whatever reason you have a moral objection to supporting YouTube or whatever, you can also do it on Patreon at patreon.com/zetamath. That is an equally good option, whichever you want to do. If you do that, it's great. If you support at the $10 level, you also get to vote on what puzzle we do at the start of every stream. So, and lately, we've had just a giant traffic jam at Puzzles with 6 votes. So if you want to go in there and decide what puzzle we do on Sunday when I stream next, you can get in there right now. That's all for today's stream. Thanks everyone for hanging out. I had a great time today. I hope you did too. I'll see you all very soon. Bye for now.